Hello and welcome back to the Midnight War. My name is Richard Rowland, and if you've been watching along with what we're doing, this is a campaign. It's an RPG campaign. It's called the Midnight War, and basically what we did is we took people who backed the Emboria role-playing in the World Under Starlight, the RPG that we kickstarted last year, actually just about a year ago from when we're recording this, and people who backed at the Hero Errant level backed at a level to play a game with me. And so I thought what would be really fun is instead of just running the same one shot for everybody individually, if we got everyone together and we tried to do a crazy thing, and that is to run a big campaign. So the Midnight War happens in 3 phases. In each phase, there are 3 teams. The teams are called the Cormorants, the Panthers, and the Pelicans. And each of these 3 teams takes up the cause of one of the factions in a civil war currently going on in the Leopard Isles in the southern parts of the Emborian Sea, and tries to advance the cause of their faction. Now, unlike a normal role-playing game, in the Midnight War, each group only comes in once. So people are coming in for their one game. They're trying to advance the cause of their faction. And the next time that faction appears on screen, it'll be played by different people. Now, there's one exception to this, and that is, of course, that Andrew has joined us again tonight for a second game. People who just watched the previous episode, which we recorded about 9 months ago, actually. We started trying to record these, and then a bunch of stuff happened. I got heavy metal poisoning. There was a lot of travel, and then I was just really, once I recovered, I was just really focused on trying to actually finish all the books for the Kickstarter. So that being done, that stuff being off to editors and layout specialists and everything, we're getting stuck back in. We're going to try to knock this out. And Andrew, it's been a little hard to fill slots, so Andrew has joined us tonight. It's great to have you, Andrew. We may have other recurring folks in the future, but ideally, I want to make sure that everybody gets a chance to play in the Midnight War who back to this level. So if you're watching this at home, it's because you've probably already seen the previous episode. However, these guys here have not. So we're going to start actually with a little bit of a recap that will catch them up to speed with where things are setting-wise, and then we're going to get into tonight's adventure. Not really sure how long this is going to go, but I would say, plan for about 3 to 4 hours. And I guess it would be nice to have everyone introduce themselves real quick. So could each of you just say, hello, my name is, one fun fact about yourself, or not, if you'd rather not, and then also just tell us who you'll be playing tonight. Okay, starting with Andrew, because you're at the top of my screen.
Okay. I'm Andrew. I'm playing Mistholm. He's a sailor, Lake Rambori sailor. Live in downtown Dallas. I remember I had a great time in the first session, but I have no recollection at all of what happened. So we're good.
Cool. Awesome. No spoilers then. All right, Paul, who are you playing? And who are you? What's your name?
I'm Paul. I'm playing Onirama, a Sothbori fast talker, who apparently uses charm as his weapon of choice.
Awesome. Jeremy.
I'm Jeremy Morgan. Fun fact is I'm a rabbit farmer at night, which is a little rare. And I am playing Herrick of the Chibori culture.
Do you plant carrots and they grow rabbits, or how's that work?
No, we breed the rabbits. There's no carrots involved in the process.
Actually, what a lot of people don't realize is that it's actually pretty bad for your rabbits to feed them carrots. But anyway,
only the tops.
Yeah, only the tops. I'm also a rabbit farmer, so yeah, there you go. All right, Father Stephen.
Well, I'm Stephen Hilgendorf, as you mentioned, and I am in Omaha. I'll be playing the character of Ralos, who, among other things, is a bearer of a longbow, a great axe, and seems to generally be pretty good at combat. So
all right,
looking forward to that.
Awesome. And Stephen Morgan.
I'm Stephen Morgan from Oklahoma. I'm going to be playing the character of Daral, who is a Nyetbori, if I'm saying that right.
That's perfect, actually. Nicely
Fun
done.
fact about me, I like to travel. I've been to every state now except Hawaii.
Wow. Ooh, you're one ahead of me. I've been to every state now except for actually, so fun fact about me, last week I went to California for the first time that I've ever been to California.
Really?
And it's the only one of the 48 continental contiguous states that I have not been to. So I've got all of the lower 48 checked off now, but I haven't done Alaska and Hawaii yet. So anyway, so maybe Alaska next year. Hawaii is going to take a little longer, I think, but yeah, okay, all right. So welcome to the Midnight War. The Amborai are the people of sky, forest, and water. They trace their lineage back to Lananomen, the last of the lords of Starland who came out of the west with a great host, and thence to Fehoth himself, the first star to glimmer in the western sky. When Sencan the Great built his city amid the sacred grove of cypress trees that surrounded the holiest of all hills, he established a kingdom and a lineage which would last the ages. For 3 aeons of the world the heirs of Sencan reigned, their legitimacy unquestioned, as long as they held the Hur Orupaim, the living sword which Sencan forged long ago in the deep places of the earth, which would serve no master but him. But some 40 years ago or so now, the Hur Orupaim was lost. It went to war in the hands of the good Prince Galal, and Galal was betrayed by his dearest friend and lost in battle on the northern moors. Now, in the year 457 of the third Aeon, the cruel King Anwai sits the throne. But his sword is one of dead iron, not living steel, and many fear that the evil things stirring on the moor and in the waters of the Sea of Amborai are proof the line of Sencan is failing at last. Beasts strange and fell stalk the northern moors. Around the cities of the archipelago, strange horrors with many eyes hunt the deep men once again. In these uncertain days, the hardy folk at the kingdom's edges do not look to Senkenkar for deliverance. They must find strength, if they are to find it at all, from among themselves. Now, the world under starlight is a living setting, which means that, more or less, sometimes with small changes, any games that I run are canon. So over the course of, you could say, the last 10 years, several important things have happened which lead us to the events of the Midnight War. I'm going to quickly break that down for you. So it all started with the trouble on the northern border. Beginning in the late 440s and early 450s, rumors began to come to Senkenkar of evil things stirring along the northeastern border of the kingdom. The cultists of Taran Toror, the Bloody Vulture, attempted to undermine communities. Ancient evils awoke in the Sarthatama, and in the year 451, a plague broke out with its source somewhere in the Chaith Wood. Although the spread of the fell disease was stopped, it proved to be a harbinger of evils to come. In the year 452, the river forts came under siege by the Naushpori, and the fortress of Leil Yalir was captured and only retaken after great bloodshed. Around this time, more and more confirmed sightings of the Aryag Bori, the great horned beasts of ancient legend, were reported. All of these things, by the way, can come to your table with Thunder in the North, a grand campaign of the world under starlight, which if you backed at the, I'm not sure when this will air, but as of recording, the draft just went out to backers. So around this time, there was also very important for your purposes an insurrection in the Leopard Isles. In the year 454, a major insurrection broke out in the Leopard Isles, led by Zishune, who was the mother superior of the convent of the Ram of Dawn. Although the initial rebellion was ultimately squashed, Mother Zishune was considered far too powerful and far too popular to be punished. And in fact, rebellion would break out again during the siege of Senkenkar in the year 456, which is the year previous to this current adventure. Currently, the Leopard Isles function as a semi-independent state from the rest of the Amborian kingdom, led by a mercurial and charismatic nobleman known as the Midnight Prince. More about him later. In the year 454, the deep men, every last one of them went missing. These would be all of your people, Stephen. And this resulted in major drop-off in sea trade, severe economic depression for port towns and island cities. And this isolation allowed the insurrection in the Leopard Isles to blossom, resulting in a reduction in Senkenkar's influence throughout the rest of the kingdom. Any attempts to seek for the deep men or to sail much beyond the side of coastline ended in ships being ensnarled in enchanted waters, broken by great sea monsters, or stranded on treacherous reefs. And all of this led, in the spring of 456, to the siege of Senkankar. In the spring of 456, the Deep Men returned, gathering in force and taking Korixime, which is the harbor city outside of the Holy City, by sudden assault. Senkankar received warning in time, and the gates of the Holy City were barred, leading to a long siege that wasted the population of the city and polluted or destroyed many of its surrounding towns and villages. The siege was unexpectedly lifted when Onorama the Bald, who in the meantime had seized the governorship of the northern province, this is a powerful Chaebori warlord, marched to its relief. The Northmen drove the Deep Men back into the sea, and with the help of the city's garrison, shattered their ranks. The Deep Men fled, although they continue, even to this day, to prey upon shipping. And in fact, most of the Deep Men have fallen into evil or madness. There is only a handful of tribes, mostly located along the southwest coast of the Emborian Sea. We'll assume Daryl is from one of these that have recently kind of come back to the light. And Daryl, if you have questions about how and why that happened, I'll be happy to share it with you in chat. I don't want to say to spoil anything on the recording. So, in the aftermath of the siege, King Anwai was forced to recognize the legitimacy of Onorama the Bald, something he'd been previously reluctant to do, since he was now basically ruler of the north and had just liberated the Holy City. He now rules in Relikar at the king's pleasure, although he is essentially now the de facto independent ruler of the north. There are rumors that Anwai is building a fleet to retake the Leopard Isles, but those in the know speculate that it may actually be intended for the Red Isle, should the bellicose and always independent-minded islanders, the Wixaranbori, choose to take advantage of the current weakness of Senkankar. Concerning King Anwai's own state, the rumors are dire. It is whispered in the streets of Senkankar that the king keeps to his own quarters, ranting and raving for hours at a time. Only his Grand Vizier, the Baron Kiavista, is invited to his councils, and many believe that Kiavista is now running the palace, though they would never dare to say so to his face. In these uncertain times, the people of the royal districts of the islands are forced to look within their own communities for the strength to stand in times more evil than anything anyone remembers since the Civil War, or as people are now calling it, the First Civil War. Now, all of this leads us to the horrifying events that took place about 2 weeks prior to the beginning of tonight's adventure. And that is the assassination of Mother Superior Zishune. Since the Leopard Isles formally broke off with Senkankar, there have been two political powers here in the capital city of Tlafi Klotbame. They're the Sons of the Leopard, who are knights who follow the Prince of Midnight and who rule the city via martial law, and Mother Superior Zishune of the Convent of the Ram of Dawn, which is the most important holy site in the Leopard Isles and one of the oldest in all of the lands around the sea. 2 weeks ago, on the Feast of Ibram, this is an important winter feast, celebrates Ibram, the Ram of Dawn, and in which, in a procession, everyone processes to the middle of the city, and they blow trumpets and bang pots and pans and shout as loud as they can. And all of this is sort of like a way of ritually drawing the Ram of Dawn back towards the earth to end the long winter. Actually, here in the Leopard Isles, winter is very mild. It's sort of like living close to the equator. So it's more of a ritual than anything else. But even then, it's a big feast. Ibram is a popular name for people who live in for men born in the Leopard Isles, and because of various elements of their legendary history, they have always seen themselves as having a close kinship to the Ram of Dawn. So on this high feast day, a group of 5 individuals, one of whom may have been played by Andrew, now widely considered to be to have been operatives in the pay of King Anwai or his agents, assassinated the Mother Superior during a public procession, and the city erupted into chaos, with any remaining Anwaist sympathizers either expelled or publicly executed. The Sons of the Leopard have made a point of hunting down any even vaguely suspicious foreigners in town, which would be concerning to the rest of you under other circumstances. As it is, however, you yourselves have been chosen by the Midnight Prince, specifically for your outsider qualities. You are, in fact, agents of the Sons of the Leopard. You are agents of the Prince of Midnight, the hereditary ruler of the Isles, although you've never met him in person. In fact, as far as you know, nobody has. But he works through his agents, people such as yourself, to further the glorious cause of freedom for the Leopard Isles. And all of this to say is why you find yourself now sitting in a room full of snarling, hooting, and braying animals. This is the 11th day of Canuvar the Crown at midwinter, and you have been summoned to the Circus of the Damned. Now, ominous name notwithstanding, the Circus of the Damned is a large it's a large circus located on the outskirts of the city, like outside the city walls of Dlavi. It's known for its over-the-top acts, and because people are so often, joining the circus and then leaving it again, it is also a decent place for transients such as yourselves to find work. And it was through agents of the Midnight Prince located in the Circus of the Damned that you first found out about the glorious cause of freedom and attached yourself to it, perhaps out of idealism, perhaps out of just a deep and abiding hatred of Prince Anwe and everything he stands for, or maybe you're just doing it for the money. That'll be up to you to determine. This morning, when you awoke, you received a summons to the quarters of Atsoyar, the Beastmaster. So Atsoyar is a huge, brawny man, almost completely bald, but it's not like he's going bald from just being old. It's more like he's shaved is not the right word. Just looking at his head and the pock marks and the slight burn marks and things like this, there are two basic theories. One is that Atsoyar lost his hair in some kind of a horrible circus accident. The other is that he simply like scalds his head every so often to keep new hairs from growing back. And the thing about Atsoyar is like, dude is crazy enough. You would believe it. You would believe it. But he is your handler. He is an agent. Unbeknownst to many other people in the circus, he is an agent of the Prince of Midnight and claims to have had a converse with him, although never in person. And his quarters are, as I mentioned, basically he has a large tent there at the circus, his tent is full of cages, cages containing panthers, other kinds of wild animals, even a very small elephant brought from the lands of the south. And the smell and the sound and everything else here is overwhelming. It also makes it the ideal place to have any kind of a clandestine conversation, because who would want to hang out here? And even if they were trying to eavesdrop, it would be hard for them to hear you. So over the snarls of leopards and the shrieks of exotic birds, Atsoyar beckons you back into kind of the inner chamber where he has his living quarters. And there, sitting on a kind of a low couch, mostly made up of, several piles of old moldering cushions, you see also a very beautiful woman. Now, she's, let's say, early middle-aged, but she's really kept it together. However, she's also beyond any of your reach in that she is a well priestess and wears the kind of the dark garb and the veil of one of her order. And as you come in, Atoyor says, Mother Amala, this is Laranorm and Ralus, Onorama and Herek and Deral. They'll be helping us with our little problem today. And Mother Amala looks up at all of you and kind of tucks. She has a very tiny wisp of red hair, which is really relatively unusual for the Umbrai. That kind of comes out underneath her veil, and she tucks it up. Kind of pats everything into place before speaking. How very nice to meet you all. Please have a seat. I'm sure Atsoyar can find something appropriate to the hour of the day with which to refresh you. Of course, it would be my joy. Would you like anything, Mother? No, thank you. And when she says no, thank you, you can see just like a very slight curl to her lip. It's kind of like a little. And every now and then she has a perfumed handkerchief that she's pressing to her nose every so often. I want to thank you all for coming, as I said. Atsoyar tells me that you are already trusted agents of our prince. And so it is my hope that we can dispense with some of the usual formalities. As you know, my old mentor, spiritual mother, the abbess, the Mother Superior Zishune, was grievously assassinated 2 weeks ago. I think tomorrow, 2 weeks ago tomorrow, by perfidious agents, Prince Onway. This brings me no unimaginable amounts of grief, and yet it is not given to such as us to grieve when the ship of state is so much in danger of running aground. What Mother Zisune means to say, Atsuya brings over some kind of like watered down wine. It's not good wine, it's almost vinegar, but it's like heavily mixed with spices to kind of mask the flavor. What Mother Atsuya, what she means to say is that she is one of the front runners to be who may be named as the new Mother Superior of the convent of the Ram of Dawn. Given the situation between us and Sedgengar, there is no question of sending up to the Queen's pool for advice in this. So it would be up to the people to determine, specifically up to the ruling class.
Then what would the mother wish for us to do on her behalf?
As Atsuya mentions, somewhat inartfully, the nobles of the Leopard Isles will have to choose a new Mother Superior from among qualified candidates. I'm one, and I am the one most cooperative to the cause of our independence. And so it has become very important that we achieve the cooperation, the succor, the votes, the wealth, the companionship of certain nobles. Unfortunately, as some of you may be familiar from your own cultures, and here she looks at the two Wakesrun in particular. Island folk can be a little independent-minded, which usually is a good thing, but sometimes gets in the way of independence as a cause. What she is trying to say is that there is a particular noble we would like you to visit and persuade to come on board with the prince's cause, yes? When you say it that way, you make it seem as though we're asking them to strong arm him. No, 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 I did not mean to imply that at all. No, he just needs a little persuasion that our cause is the best cause. You're doing it again. Oh. Oh. I'm sure some of you have heard of Sir Reilivar the Mad. You guys can, if you would like, give me if you're a fair Kenbori, this will be a culture own roll. If not, I think most of you are not. This will be a culture other roll.
Okay.
So it's a D100 system. So you're going to throw a D100 and you're looking to, it's a roll under system. So you want to get your skill level or beneath it. And just let me know if anybody succeeded.
Oh, definitely not.
No idea who this guy is.
Yeah, I'm just gonna nod, be like, "Oh yes."
I did succeed.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I
So
succeeded
Lennon
my
got
roll.
it. Anybody else?
Which was the skill?
If for your character, it would be a culture other roll.
I did not succeed.
All right. So Lennon, you've heard of him. You know that he lives on a small kind of rocky island that's on the eastern edge of the Leopard Archipelago. So the archipelago is sort of a chain of islands. There are 4 primary islands where the majority of people live, and then literally hundreds of small islands, most of which are homes, such as like a single homestead or sometimes a small village. So he has one of his own that's it's not tiny, but it's small. But the island of Mistholm, it's almost the very easternmost island in the chain, and it's probably about a day's sail from Chlorfame, where you are right now. And other than that, you know that he has a reputation for being extremely eccentric. Like, they don't call him Sir Reilivar the Mad for being like a super normal dude. But the other thing that you know about him is that, eccentricities aside, or perhaps because of them, he is also one of the most powerful and influential knights in the order. So in the Leopard Isles, there is a chivalric order called the Knights of the Leopard Skin. Knights in the order are easy to identify because they wear leopard skin cloaks. Usually just like sort of normal leopard skin, sometimes also like a Black Panther. The Prince of Midnight himself is said to wear a like a Black Panther skin. However, most people have never met him. And so, but the order is not. You should not. It's sort of like a more like a kind of a society, or like it's a let me put it this way. This is not a knightly order which has like any kind of centralized hierarchy. Oh, so like the Sons of the Leopard, who are currently running the city, are a group of knights, but they don't represent like the whole order or anything like that. Pretty much nobody does, except for some guys like Sir Reilivar, who have basically enough sway, either through wealth or through pedigree or through their own reputation and deeds of arms. They have enough sway that other younger, less experienced knights kind of flock to their banner. And so you get a situation like Sir Reilivar, who has possibly hundreds of knights who are kind of under his patronage, and therefore also will kind of go with him, will do what he says. And so Lennon, when she mentions the name Sir Reilivar the Mad, you immediately understand both how difficult the assignment will be, because this is a pretty eccentric dude, but then also like how important he could be to the cause.
All right. It's fine. So yes, I'm familiar with the Sir Reilivar the Mad. I've sailed past his home many times. Um, this is a bold undertaking.
It will be indeed. Yes, however, we are not sending you into the situation completely unprepared. You see, every year on the my brain just abandoned me, but that's why we have notes. Every year on the Feast of Lananomen, he holds a great tournament on his island. And there will be hundreds of knights there, perhaps 200-300, and their retinues. It will be the perfect time to arrive to the island totally unnoticed and to come to his notice. How you do this is up to you, but what we would like is you to approach him, to offer him certain terms. Yes. We are told that Sir Reilivar is a pious, some might even say, superstitious man.
Indeed.
I would be willing to see to it that a shrine is established on his island, and also that certain relics, which he will very much value, will be placed in said shrine. Also that he will receive great favor from the convent should he support my appointment as Mother Superior. And these favors will extend so far as the and here it is important that you communicate the words exactly. So perhaps you should write this down.
Got it.
Pencils out.
I can see to it that his curse is lifted should he support my appointment.
Curse.
As I said, the Baron is somewhat superstitious. Don't worry about that too much. Just communicate the message.
Of course, discretion is always needed in these sorts of matters.
Yes, I have found in the case of curses, personally, the less you know, the better.
Well, perhaps. But in this sort of challenging diplomatic sort of situation, I find it necessary to have all the necessary pieces in order to properly influence the man. What if the negotiation does not go as favorably and he does not see these most generous offerings as being substantial? What might we tell him would be the unfortunate result of not gaining your support?
Mother Amala looks shocked and horrified that you would even suggest such a thing. It's all right, Mother. You can let me take this one. You tell that mad old bastard that if he does not want to support the cause of Firkenbori independence, then when we have finished with the king's men, we will come for him. You ought to tell him nothing of the sort. Simply say that he knows his days are numbered and that he needs my help. I think that he'll see reason. Oh yes, because he's totally called Sir Reilivar the highly reasonable. You hear like a snarl from the other room, and Atsoyar walks out for a second and like beats on some of the cages. Shut up, and there's like a Do you guys have anything else you would ask Mother Alma?
Father, if I may ask, what do you envision as being the primary obstacle to our objective with this gentleman?
To be totally honest with you, it's your returning alive. Sir Reilivar is very eccentric, and the last two people we sent to meet with him, one of them had a horrible accident on the island, and the other awoke after spending a night with Sir Reilivar in his hall and ran immediately for the docks, took sail alone, and was never seen again. That's why I'm sending 5 of you this time. Sir Reilivar, as I said, is a superstitious man, and he believes that he has been haunted by a curse of some kind. I believe it is affecting his judgment. Therefore, it is very important that you manage to not allow him to sidetrack you with things of this nature. If you can manage to convince him that his troubles will be over once I am in command of the monastery, then everything else should be easy. But under no account should you accept any invitations to spend the night with him.
Well, then, seems we have at least enough information to start upon our journey. Oh, but good mother, before we leave, though our journey seems that it will be but a trifle, I will not trust this whole expedition to hopeful thinking. Might we impose upon you to ask for your blessing for our journey before we go?
Oh, yes, of course. She draws out a flask of holy water and gives you all a blessing.
Cool.
May starlight guide your path, and may the great heroes of these islands watch over you. I trust that you will return with good news in a few days. The tournament begins 2 days from now on the feast, and so you have perhaps a day to make your preparations. If you need anything, Atsuya will see to it that it is provided. In the meantime, I have pressing affairs waiting for me at the convent, and I think I have had about as much of this unhealthy air as I can do today. So if you've no further questions, I will bid you all farewell. All right. So you guys have it's about a day's sailing, so you need to leave the following day, so which means you have about a day to prepare or to make inquiries or to go off on red herrings or to do absolutely anything you want. So I'm going to give you guys a moment to talk and consult, get to know each other a little bit as characters. I'm going to go get some water, maybe something a little extra to go along with that water. And I'll be back in a minute.
All right.
See if
Really gentle.
So who I'm gonna try and get names. Ralus and Daryl. Okay.
I'm trying to find the spot where I can add my character name in.
Right at the top of your picture in the Zoom, there's little 3 little dots up there at the top of the, you can click that. Oh, no, it might not be there. Where did I
Oh.
see it?
That's it.
Is that it? Ah,
On
that
your
is
own
it.
name.
Yep, on your own name, you can hit rename. We'll drop down menu. Well, I must admit, this seems to be right up my particular alley, but I'm at a loss. Linenum, you seem quite familiar with this strange madman we have to convince to come over to our side.
Well, what I know is island's on the far east of the archipelago, and it's decent size and strange fellow. I don't. He's what are those knights called? Huh. Knights of the Leopard or something.
Hmm.
Yeah. He's one of those fellows.
Well, seems like we
The
should
island
be
is
on
called
this.
Miss something, Mistholm maybe.
Yes. I find much of this disconcerting, but only in that I don't know enough. But you, what was your name? Raulus?
Sir.
You look a particular hardy fellow.
Yes, I'm rather intimidated though by this fellow we have to visit. He seems to be an awkward customer.
That is probably putting it very mildly, but yes. Hmm. And my good man, Daryl, is it?
Daryl.
Daryl.
It's the second. They're all.
Daryl.
Actually,
Oh.
a shorter form of Darial, which means like I think it's like a lion or something.
Oh. What is your claim to this? Just come to the Isles, a bit of coin, altruism, some higher calling?
Everyone needs coin to survive these days.
Truer words, my friend. What do you, what was it, Herrick?
I think we need more information about this man. We need to know what kind of contests these knights will be partaking in. I think we should try and find some place in town where we can overhear. But from my perspective, the people of the North have served Onway far too long. Anything that we can do to bring his pathetic rule to an end is going to be fine by me.
Straight to business. I love it. No nonsenses. We need more of that. But some good thoughts, good thoughts. Well, we don't sail for a full day. That gives us some time to prepare. And as you say, we don't have a lot of information, which is something we can remedy. So if you have any contacts, I think that would probably be good to use. See if we can learn anything about this madman and perhaps the circus. Or if you have any contacts on the isle itself, we could make use of. Other than that, I would say getting some provisions and getting a good night's sleep would be very helpful.
Perhaps the sailor friends, men of the sea talk. Perhaps they know more. Or have friends of the docks who know more.
Oh, you guys definitely know some very seedy places down by the docks.
That's where I'm comfortable.
He's like, I love those places.
Perhaps we could find a nice cozy spot down by the docks where we could catch a drink and maybe talk with some of the folks who traffic in those waters.
I don't like the particular way you describe them, but I get your meaning. Yes, philanthropists. Yes, we should talk to a few of those philanthropists. See if they have some information. Sailors is a good idea. They would know more about this. Well, let us go then. I don't see any reason to delay. Little information is going to be very key.
And some drink will help too.
Fair enough. All right. So you guys you're not looking for a nicer house of refreshment in town, but you're like headed down to the docks looking for sailors and things they talk about. Basically, that's the idea here.
If I can catch
Where we're
scurvy
starting.
very early on, I'll be fine. Let's just go.
If you can catch what very early on?
Scurvy or something.
Yes. I don't think it's how you get scurvy, but
There's a pirate kit. I don't know.
yeah. Very good. So there is a place down by the docks that a couple of you know. We have at least our two Wakes Ranbori characters, Ralus and Lananom are both sailors, corsair hunters, etc. So you both have quite a bit of experience at sea, and then also for Daryl, the as a Nyetbori, like, so for people who don't know, Nyetbori often have more. So there's certain parts of the sea that are corrupted. And if you spend too much time in them, and remember that Nyetbori can like breathe underwater, so they can spend a lot of time in them. You spend too much time in them, they do begin to sort of change your physical appearance. And so because of this, most people can tell just looking at you, unless you're like wearing a hood, that you're a Nyetbori. And remember, those guys just like set siege to the holy city. Now, that's not as big a deal here as it would be there, but even then, it's still like a little, what's this guy doing here? Like, are they here for us next, kind of a thing, right? So, so as in Nyetbori, you're probably hanging out places like this where you're less likely to be noticed than some of the nicer parts of town. And also, like, just being totally honest, most of your characters are kind of tough guys. So you're probably not, with the possible exception of Onorama, it's quite possible that a lot of you really aren't getting hired to, like, do the diplomatic work for the Midnight Police anyway.
You're the contingency if words don't work.
Right. So, yeah, so you know of a place down by the docks called the Fool's Mug. And it is built basically in the ruins of a much nicer building, and not on the ruins, but in the ruins of a much nicer building. It's basically a shack set up inside of the husk of like a much larger burned out building. It is it's kind of half timbered. There is a very large cattle pen right next to it, which I don't know why this keeps happening tonight, but it lends a very specific, let's say, flavor to the air as you head into this establishment. And yeah, the menu here is pretty sparse. When I say menu, there isn't one. There are two things which can be had at the Fool's Mug. They're both served to you in the titular mug, which I mentioned. And they're basically a very sort of sour beer. It's really well, it's not beer. It's kind of a sour. It's kind of a sour tasting grog. It's made from fermented rice and some other things. And then there's also a porridge made from the same rice, with bits, like chunks of things in it. I mean, the other thing is that, because we're on the coast, fish is always accessible, right? And so that's basically a thing. But basically, in the porridge, there's just like chunks of fish. The fish itself is quite fresh, and so therefore good. And the porridge itself is actually not terrible either. But it's definitely like, this is not fine dining. There's some places where, at many inns in the lands around the sea, you can get like a 6-7 course meal. That just is a normal thing. It just comes with the price of a bed. The Fool's Cup is not, or the Fool's Mug is not one of those places. However, it's also the sort of place where nobody will ask too many questions, except for you guys, because you guys are here.
Yeah, except for us.
Yeah. So, It's easy enough. It's 1 silver star will buy you dinner, drink, and a board for the night, a room for the night. So it's a nice cheap place for people who are maybe whose pockets are a little bit lighter than others. Yeah, this time of day, which is like mid-morning, there are people drinking, but like it's not as busy as it's going to be. The people who are drinking right now, like these are the people who are like genuinely committed to to the work. Like, I used to have a friend, a coworker from Wisconsin, and he would always say, well, you can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning. And these are those people. Like they're getting an early start on what's to come this evening, and so they're drinking up what's left of last night's gruel, or sorry, drinking up what is left of last night's grog, and getting started on the gruel when you come in. The innkeeper looks in your direction, recognizes a couple of you, flips one of you off, and then starts serving a couple more bowls. And and whichever one of you it was, you genuinely don't remember why, but you don't remember a lot of the last time that you were here. So this is no way to be sure.
Sounds like me.
There are currently, yeah, fair enough. Let's see here. There are currently
You're like, we're friends.
currently about 7 people here in the tavern. At least a couple of them are folks you guys recognize.
He Onorama kind of glances around, looks at what they're eating and drinking. Well, it appears we've arrived a little too early. What say we come back when there are more people to talk to, and we'll get some food up in the city. I hear there's this wonderful little restaurant there. Delicious food, excellent cuisine.
I thought we were here for information.
The picking looks a little light, don't you think?
There's always information to be gathered.
Well, sir, I will not stand in your way. Please proceed.
Ralus is going to walk up to the bar.
The innkeeper, a guy named Hariel, looks you dead in the eyes, Onorama, and just like slams a bowl of gruel down in front of you. You won't find any better gruel than this up in the city.
This, sir, I am confident of. The aroma itself tells me everything I need to know.
Yeah, well, that's
And-
most of the cows next door.
Then this is indeed going to be an excellent experience.
He looks over at you, Ralus. What did I tell you about bringing them his sort in here?
What do you mean, this sort? These are fine, honorable gentlemen.
It's the problem.
That's exactly what I mean.
Well, we could always be maybe a little less honorable, if you prefer.
I'm just saying, bringing somebody in who turns up his nose at honest fare, acts like cow shit don't stick to its shoe. It's all right. Couple of grogs in you, you'll find out you're as low as the rest of us. All right, what do you guys want to do?
I'll, I guess, put down my silver star and ask him if he forgives me for I don't remember what, and what's new around the docks.
If I forgive you, do I look like I woke up in a forgiving mood? There's nothing new here, just the usual. I mean, pandemonium, panic in the streets, trade disrupted, men out of work, bunch of sailors spending too much time on land for their own good. So more or less just a Tuesday.
Any ships sailing from Mistholm by chance?
Mistholm? Not from Mistholm, no.
Oh, it's just we're going to be sailing there tomorrow.
You
wanted
and
to-
every other sword.
Hmm.
Yeah, you look like the type.
Well, thank you.
Little too fancy. Bet you got a banner of something. But yeah, plenty of people headed to the tournament.
What do you know about Sir Reilivar?
Oh, Reilivar. Well, just the usual rumors, Madman murdered his wife. Holds a bloody big tournament every year. No idea where he gets all the money for all the food and drink. Supposed to be 130 knights fighting there this year. Probably 500 more people just coming to watch. And he all pays for it all himself. Now, what I'd like to know is, how do I get the catering job, Now, this is a real question.
I
You
don't
want
know
to
if
go
you're-
there?
So, what did you
Have
say,
you
Paul?
ever been there yourself?
No, you know how it is. Just I'm afraid if I ever left the old place, or they rebuild the original building while I was gone, then where would I be?
When you do the catering, do you bring the cow shit with you?
Uh, I want everyone to pay attention now. Well, I don't know. He's just had one grog, and already he's starting to run his mouth. 6 drinks from now, he's gonna be genuinely funny.
Oh,
Not there yet.
well, you should do. You should just pack up the place. Go and start a new life on Isle of Mistholm. A nice little shop. I'm sure you would do well.
Right, well, you just here for business advice or what? Because I've got so many other customers to attend to.
Oh, well, don't let us keep from your very busy day.
When I take a look at the other customers, just any of them look like they're going to the tournament.
Hmm. Um,
Sailors or knights, fighters. Any of them fighting for the home team?
so you don't see any knights here, but this is really not the place where you'd expect to run into them. There are plenty of everybody here looks like they're either a sailor or like more or less like a professional wharf rat. They're just sort of somebody like lives down by the docks, probably gets by doing work as like a stevedore and things like that, but has no no real profession. Um, So yeah. But no knights. This is you would guess that's definitely the wrong part of town to meet up with a knight.
Hmm. Well, Lennom, since you seem to frequent this fine establishment more readily than the rest of us, any familiar faces?
Lennon, give me a lore test.
All right, that's oh no, fail.
Okay. You don't recognize any of the people here. It doesn't mean you don't know them. It just means you don't recognize them in
Or
your
remember.
sober state.
Yeah.
That guy's vaguely familiar. Can't remember why though.
Do I recognize anybody here?
You can give me a lore test. Or you know what? Lore, or I would also take like a trade test.
Well, I passed the lore test.
Nice.
Okay, you do recognize one particular is a Firkanbori sailor named Puri. Puri is known for being a little light-handed. And so he's been kicked off more than, like 2 or 3 different sailing ships before since you've known him. Like whenever he's on the crew, things go missing, let's say. Light fingered is what I meant to say, yeah. Just a little light fingered. But yeah, Puri is here. Given this sort of like the swelling welt on the side of his face, you'd guess that he's recently ended employment. And it's here, like you would guess again from like his posture, the smell of his breath, he's probably 3 or 4 in already.
I think I'll go up to him.
Rallis!
Puri,
So good to see you.
how's
Really,
business?
really good to see you. Such a handsome man. It's so good to see you. Business is better than it's ever been. It's so good. I just got kicked off of my ship, and so I am currently drinking away the remainder of the captain's treasury. And
Innovative as usual,
he pulls
Puri.
out of his pocket, he pulls like a small leather purse and clinks on the table. You can tell from the sound of it, there's way more money in there than Puri has any right to have.
Well, Puri, where was your last job?
My last job, is on this terrible, terrible boat. The Seabird, they should call it the Sea Rat. Terrible ship. Supposed to be shipping off to Senkankar for cargo, but then everything happened, and so now we've just been making little runs up and down the coast. You've never been that interested in sailing, though.
Well, most of the time I'm more concerned with corsairs in other parts of the
Ooh,
sea.
Corsairs, that's right. So you are interested in sailing. You just sort of like, yeah.
I don't tend to talk much about my business, Puri.
Here's the Corsairs.
I prefer to not drink to corsairs.
It's all right. I'll drink yours.
You're welcome to it.
So,
Puri, have you been near Mistholm lately in your little runs up and down the coast?
Mistholm. Mistholm is kind of the opposite direction of the way that I usually go, but there's a big job in Mistholm. I mean, lots of jobs in Mistholm. We should go. We should totally go to Mistholm. This is gonna be a big tournament.
You probably could use somebody with your light fingers, your light touch, as it were.
I bet you have I bet you have a ship. I could captain your ship. I'm such a good steer. Was the guy that steers the ship? I'm such a good steerer. We steer right through all those rocks, straight to Mistholm. Yeah, this the guy, Lord he's crazy, I heard he killed his wife.
We have too. Have you heard anything else about him?
Oh, he's sacrificed her like on an altar and stuff, and then he went crazy. And now he lures people into his house and he eats them.
Sounds like a delightful character. Would you like to meet him?
Would I like it? Oh, I mean, that sounds wonderful. I mean, somebody like that, he's got stories to tell. And I a lot of people are paying on this place is not so good anyway. And honestly, I should leave town for a couple of days, I think. Yeah, this captain, he's missing his purse and I think and I sort of got in trouble with his wife, and I think I should leave town for a couple of days. We could go together. We could go to Mistholm, and he looks over the rest of your party, and he finally like points at Onorama, who's just the best dressed of any of you.
Really handsome.
We could dress him up like a knight, and he could fight in the tournament. And then we could poison everyone else in the tournament, and you could win the prize. We could all be filthy rich.
I don't know that my companion would really much approve of that idea.
No,
Sounds
try
good to
us.
It sound like a bunch of sticks in the mud. I think it's a great plan, but it's all right. You're right though, Rouse. We should just get there, and just like feel things out, man, and just like get a vibe, and then we
How
figure
do you
out.
how do you enter the tournament anyway? Anybody know?
That would be a culture other role.
Right. Well, succeed.
Nope.
24.
Did you make it?
Yeah, made it.
Oh, so any knight can enter the tournament.
All right. That rules us out.
So you've got to be a knight. It doesn't mean you have to be a famous one or well known, but you have to at least
Okay.
look the part.
Yep.
Yeah. You can look the part. It's all about presentation.
I think there's something to what our inebriated friend said.
It was a bit about poisoning everybody, right? I think it's a great idea.
Well, the poisoning, that might be phase 2, but I think
We don't have to kill anybody. I have this great little something, you know what I'm saying, it's up this sleeve. Just a couple of drops of this. Your insides, they will be your outsides. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, you'll be just for days and days and days. You'll be praying for that. I'm saying you'll be pooping a lot. I don't know if you kind of you poop. This is what I'm saying.
I agree that we all take him, that we take him with us.
Absolutely. Which which
all
one?
all we need to do is dress your pretty little friend up so he looks like a knight.
That's the part that I thought was a pretty good idea.
Yes, Will.
Can you be a knight?
Can I be a knight? Don't let these good looks deceive you, for I am fairly competent at my craft.
Oh, look out, ladies. He's fairly competent.
I'm sure your own talents are highly esteemed if your feet and mouth are as agile as your hands.
I feel like there was some kind of innuendo, but I was gonna say, you know what they say about a man with feet and
A man with feet.
It
What do
sounds
we
like
want?
we've got the rest of the day to come up with some custom night outfits for at least a couple of us. I think.
Would we need anything in particular, or is it we just need to pass ourselves? Do we need like some patronage? Do we need?
So the trickiest thing, I mean, the thing is like this is not a is the Knights of the Leopard Skin are not like a centralized order with like a
Sure.
bureaucracy and like a list of like who's on the name. Like
Sure.
the main thing, other than like there are sort of like courtly manners that if you don't have, people will probably notice pretty quickly. But the main thing for looking the part is the leopard skin cloak.
So 3 options: we buy some leopard skins, we attack some knights who have leopard skins and take their stuff, or 3, this is a hunting expedition.
Well, you probably don't have time to cure a pelt.
So,
Yeah.
Another stick in the mud.
how do we feel about skullduggery? I think probably we could see if we could, because if we just need something to like look like we're part of that order, we could maybe buy a.
Well, so you have some options here. Remember that you technically you work for the Midnight Prince.
Mhm.
So
Which he himself is a knight.
So you could always talk to Atsoyar, who is your handler.
Okay.
And see what he would be able to provide you. Don't get me wrong, I personally love the idea of you like waiting in like ambush and like conking, you know,
Really do
leopard
too.
knights on the back of their head and like switching clothes
Really
with them.
do.
Personally, I like that better.
What do we want to do?
You could always have Puri steal one.
You know, a leopard skin cloak? Oh my goodness, that would be so difficult and such great. I've never done anything that high profile before. This is my sarcastic voice, if you can pick up on that, because I could steal anything. Not that I've ever stolen anything, but I could. I steal off him while he's wearing it.
Maybe if he wasn't drunk.
Whole order.
I'm not drunk. This is just a little lubricant, you know? It's gotta get your brains just a little lubricated. You know what I'm saying? I'm not drunk. I'm totally sober. I could walk. Give me any line you want. I will walk it.
Alternatively, how do we feel about? So what do we want to do though? Do we want to try and like get some, or do we want to be like highwaymen and make like some bandits?
There's no
Maybe
use.
we should go ask our handler.
Okay,
Asayar is probably a good idea. There's no
an
use
option.
borrowing trouble.
I mean, I was thinking of borrowing their cloaks, but yeah. Okay, well let's we'll finish our porridge and delicious grog and pay our tab.
All right. So you guys head back to the Circus of the Damned. Are you bringing Puri with you, or are you just leaving him here?
Yeah,
to collect him
do we-
later. What do you want to do?
Do you want to bring him with us, or do you think that would not look good in front of our handler?
I think we can tell him that we'll be back to get him for our adventure here in a little bit.
Okay.
That's my 2 cents.
Yeah.
I agree.
All right, I'll be waiting right here. Probably right here. If nobody catches me. Not that I've done anything wrong. All right, so you guys head back to the Circus of the Damned. Altoyar scratches his bald head for a moment and says, "So you're telling me the plan is to do exactly what here?"
Well, I think the most dramatic way to get close to the Sir Reilivar, the Mad, is to win this tournament.
To win this tournament, you know that means you're going to have to fight like 100 knights or something.
Of course.
And you feel like you are up to that.
It
Everyone
would
here
at
is very
least get us
competent.
onto. It will at least give us the reason to be on the island.
All right, I agree. A little bit of cover is not the worst idea, but to impersonate Knights of the Leopard Skin if they catch you. It might be easier for a couple of you to come like Red Fang Knights from your island, yes? But then of course we would need the swords. I do not
How
have
does that?
2 Red Fang longswords lying around.
And I don't know. We thought perhaps looking the part of well, they don't know us, but familiar faces rather than foreigners might lend us a little bit more camouflage.
Right, it's you're the ones whose lives are on the line, as they say. So I can make arrangements for 1, maybe 2 cloaks.
That'll be just enough. The rest of us will come up with a alternative.
But the rest of you better remember which fork to use. There's a very special series of manners that comes with being a leopard skin knight. You must know how to woo a woman. You must know how to sing. You must know how to dance. You must cut a dashing figure at court. Ram is like,
It's like I was made for this.
Where can I get the swords of the Red Fang?
Oh, that's a good question.
well, mainly from the Red Isle, but they only give them to the members of their order. Those are more difficult for me to come by than leopard skins. These I can have for you in 2 hours. Maybe 1 hour. Batu does not shut up! Sorry, he's a very nice cat. I just get annoyed sometimes.
If
The
you
rest
can
of us.
get the swords, that would be a good option.
Alternatively, if two of us go as knights and then the rest go as
I was going to say a
chorus,
spectator.
yeah,
Or
like
just
that's not
like
going to
the
be
retinue.
weird. Yeah,
Yeah.
Like knights have squires and retained
yeah.
guys to carry their stuff and polish their armor and so on.
Stroke my ego.
All right. The clocks. Do you need anything else?
Well, we asked a few questions down around the docks to just see if we could learn anything, and it was pretty much the same. The games are held every year. Reilivar gets madder and madder, but no one really knows a whole lot about him other than just the wild stories. So I feel like we are going to have to go into this a little blind and figure it out as
I
we go.
would take the wild stories with a grain of salt, personally. You know, a very wealthy man lives in relative seclusion on an island, except for a big party he throws once a year. Of course, that man is a little crazy.
Yes, and yet you're two messengers down.
Ah, she told you about that.
I don't think that raises our stakes any more than they already are, but it is good to know what we're getting into.
Cards on the table, yes. I think there is something strange going on at the Baron's manor. I do not think he's mad, but the first time it was just an accident, of course, but the second time. Something that happened on that island drove my man mad. This is what I believe. So,
Yes, well, we'll be sure to make sure that we retain our sanity and don't befall any strange accidents.
that is why I said, under no circumstances, spend the night in his hall. Simply approach him, make the offer. The mother, she seems to know more about what is going on with him than I do. And she's prepared to make certain promises to put an end to whatever is afflicting him or the people of the island. That's all you need to say.
Of course.
All we need are the knights who are under his service. We need them, yes, to appoint Mother Amala to the convent, yes, of course, but also because war is coming sooner or later, and we need every sword if we are to stay free.
Of course. We'll make sure it gets done.
I can give you 2 cloaks and a ship. Do you need anything else?
Oh, you can arrange the ship as well.
Well, if you're going as knights, it would not do for you to simply take passage on a merchant vessel. We have
Yes,
ships at our disposal. And if we do not, I will simply ask the sons of the leopard to commandeer one.
I understand. Very good.
Very well. Come tonight. After the act is done, I will have the clothes for you.
Does the
Okay.
ship come with a pilot?
Does the ship come with a pilot? Oh, you mean a steerer?
Can't tell if you've forgotten or if it's just in character.
Yes, although I believe that a couple of you are skilled sailors, I thought you would want to pilot the ship yourself.
Oh, we have this well in hand. Thank you.
It's better the fewer people you take. Our prince has only lived as long as he has lived by maintaining his secrecy, and Operations which we undertake on his behalf must also observe a similar secrecy. So, if you can pilot the ship yourself, that is one less blabbing mouth to worry about.
Of course.
Yeah. Carlos can pilot, can steer.
So, is there anything else that we want? Weapons, gear?
I think we just go. We're hoping that we're good.
What do squires wear?
Um,
Would they wear this? Do we look okay?
you look like a ragtag band of retainers gathered by a knight who is up and coming and maybe cannot afford uniforms yet. Is good enough for your purposes. For winning the tournament, well, I wish I could be a fly on the wall, so to speak. No offense, Onorama, but I have a hard time looking at you thinking you're going to win the tournament against 130 of the finest knights the islands have to offer.
If he fights half as much as he talks, he'll be fine.
He does talk a lot. Come tonight after the act. Come before the act if you want to see the act, by the way. It's going to be very impressive tonight. We're going to have girls and panthers. It's going to be, well, hopefully nobody gets eaten, but if somebody does get eaten, certainly people will, that'll be good for our sales. So
Is there an entrance fee for the tournament?
entrance fee? No, there's no entrance fee.
Okay.
Tournament, no. No. These crazy knights that go out and they bash each other in the head in the name of honor. Can you believe it? Although I'm told the price is quite valuable.
Will you have bears at your show?
Oh, we have a couple of bears, yes.
I like bears.
Well, we have one that he can dance a little bit, and the other one he does not dance, but he's still a bear, so.
Do they balance on balls?
Do they balance on? No, what? How would that work? How would you get the bear up onto the ball to begin with?
Well, they have claws that they use, I think, to study. I've seen sketches of it happening, and I'd love to see it in real life.
You've seen sketches. Well, listen, handling a real bear, it's very different from a sketch. In the sketch you can sort of pose them and things like this, but these bears, no, they mostly want to sleep. And if they don't want to sleep, they're eating your face. Like those are for bears, those are the two modes. Is the sleeping or is it eating your face? So I feel like the dancing is pretty good.
I'll try to come and watch them dance.
All right, well, yeah, you do that. This one is kind of a weird one, yes. All right. I see you tonight.
Right.
Best of luck with your arrangements, and maybe some of you can just make sure Honorama knows which way to hold his sword. If you're a knight, you're going to need armor as well, yes?
Oh, yes.
What kind of armor do you prefer? Is it chainmail or the plate armor?
That's actually a very good question.
I mean, in a couple of minutes, I have to go pop a couple of knights on the back of the head and take their cloaks. And if you want me to take their armor as well.
Yeah. While you're at it, if it's not inconvenient.
All right, I will see if I can also find a suit of armor for you.
See, we could have done this.
That is a joke. I'm not going to assault anybody and take their things. I'm simply going to speak to a couple of our agents and see if we can borrow for the purposes of this increasingly hijink-laden quest which you are on.
Of course. Wink.
All right. Do you guys need anything
Yep.
else? Any other
No, I
preparation?
think we're good.
All right. So, in order to spare our audience at home having to listen to me imagine and then describe circus acts one after the other in my head, you guys spend the afternoon, come back to the circus in time for the act. The bears dance. It's kind of disappointing, Jeremy. It's not. It's you know, they don't really dance. They just kind of move their feet back. They like shuffle their feet around. You know, it's like I don't know what you're expecting, but it was better than this. You know, but they are bears, so there's that.
Maybe next time.
Yeah, maybe next time. But yeah, you guys watch the circus, and then when it's over, you head back to the Beastmaster's tent where he has 2 leopard skin cloaks and a suit of full plate armor waiting for you on Arama. Now, full plate armor is more.
Then I can wear.
No, it's just I was gonna say it's more heavy, but that's the wrong way to use the English language. Okay, where is it at? Come on. Here we go. So it's going to increase your encumbrance
Okay.
by where is this? All right, so plate armor has a protection of 5, which is a long way up from the gambeson that you're currently wearing. But it also has a an encumbrance of 5.
Okay.
Which is going to put your encumbrance at 14, which means you will be at a -1 clash point penalty and +1 damage to your metal when you're traveling. So if you fail a travel roll, you'll take 1 extra metal damage. But
Okay. Well, it because we've got two of these cloaks, one of the armor. Would the armor work for whoever else wants to wear a cloak?
sure, I
That
mean,
would be
yeah, you
something they
don't
could
have
actually
to
use
wear.
because for me, this is gonna like steadily make it more difficult for me to actually do anything.
It's up to you guys. I'm just telling you that the armor comes with some additional weight. But
Sure.
if you're a knight and you're fighting in a tournament, you've got to have armor. Like
Yeah.
the gambeson you're wearing is not going to work. So this is what he got for you.
Okay.
But you guys some of you have more armor than others. So you're also welcome to kind of shuffle things around a little bit as y'all see fit.
And the encumbrance, what's the, how do you determine when it gives you the penalty? Are you comparing it to
Is it
strength?
Yeah, so you compare your total encumbrance to your strength. And if it's over, then it starts incurring penalty. You can still fight in this armor. Paul, you'll just have 1 less clash point. So it's kind of up to you.
So it's 5 protection and then 5 encumbrance, or how many was it, the encumbrance?
So it's worth 5 encumbrance, which puts your total encumbrance at 14. And yeah, it's 5 protection. You're basically just at -1 clash point right now. Encumbrance starts becoming bad. Like one more encumbrance would start really penalizing you.
Okay.
But this is like, so the next it would be -2 clash points and then -3 clash points. So you can't carry a lot more, but also you don't have to wear your armor while you're traveling.
True. Okay. So just in the tournament.
Yeah. I mean, in this particular case, like if you were marching there, like over land, then that would be different. But in this case, you have a ship. You know, obviously, if the ship got attacked while you were sailing, you wouldn't be in your nice fancy armor to fight. But as far as like just you know, like if this is just your tournament armor, you can definitely just wait and put it on before the tournament begins.
Okay.
You know. Lost Rallis there for a sec. All right. So you collect the armor, the leopard skin cloaks. Who's taking the second one, by the way?
Say Doral or Herrick. I mean,
I don't think Durrell
Dural won't
He's
be able to get
gonna-
away with it.
I mean Rallis.
attracting too much attention.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks too much like a Neat Bori. But yeah, if somebody else wants to take the second cloak.
I can if
All right. All right, so Onorama and Herrick are taking the cloaks. Can I reorder things? I can. Oh, so cool. I'm gonna pop both of you at the top of my screen there. There we go. Because as far as the rest of the world is concerned, you guys are now in charge of the group. All right. The next morning, you head out to your ship and begin sailing. The vessel that you're given is small, but it's enough to transport your gear, and also Peri, who is just the most hungover that anybody could possibly be. I just, guys, if I could just have a little bit of the hair of the dog. And it's just a little something. Like surely there's some grog on the ship. He is massively hungover, but he has come along for the ride with you. So you have a thief.
Nice.
If you need one. Yeah. You begin the journey. And we don't because they're only sailing a day. Normally we wouldn't have to actually have you guys make a roll, but it is winter. And sometimes bad things happen on the sea during winter.
Okay.
So I would just like everybody to go ahead and give me either a survival or a sailing test. You can choose from between those two skills.
I'll do survival for mine.
You're a sailor, Herrick. You're a Corsair hunter. How do you not have good sailing?
No, Herrick isn't. He's a Chibori. My sailing,
That's right.
my sailing is 10%. Survival is 75. So
All right. Yes, yeah.
I have a decent sailing, but not today.
All right.
I failed also with an 80 something.
I got a 7.
I got a 50, so I'm good.
All right. So how many failures do we have total?
2.
Oh no. Just holding it together, be like, guys, I don't know anything about the sea. You've got to do this.
You have one job. It turns out Peri is not a good steerer. He told us right about that. All right. see here. We're in the
Are we
sea.
all supposed to roll a sail skill?
Yes, please.
Okay, I passed.
Okay. All right. The trip is pretty bad, like just as far as the waters are rough. It is winter, and even a single day sail in the winter can sometimes be pretty treacherous. And the waves are choppy, the weather is poor. But you all temporarily lose 3 metal as a result.
That is not good.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Winter is a bad time to sail. But towards the evening of the day, or towards the end of the day, as the sun is setting in the west, and the water around you is the gray water around you is just momentarily transformed into the most beautiful kind of deep red and purple. You see the island of Mistholm rising up, appropriately named, rising up out of the mist ahead of you. And as you make harbor, you find that there are already several other 100 people here. Despite the evil times, the tournaments which Sir Reilivar throws are extraordinary and very famous. And obviously, there are many young knights here eager to prove themselves in the tournaments. There are a few widely veterans here who think they've got a slightly better shot at the prize. There are also a probably, if there's 130 people fighting in the tournament, there are probably 2 or 3 times that number here, just in spectators, in shop owners from the various islands who have come to sell their wares, in farmers from the various islands who have come to sell their wares. I mean, there are a ton of people who have just shown up here with their sheep to sell them, to trade, etc. This is a great place to do that kind of outside of especially with the major cities now being kind of like under martial law, under the Sons of the Leopard. It's just much harder to kind of come in and do business if you're like a small farmer. So this is just a great opportunity for everybody. And also, like, there are dances, there are weddings. I mean, this is the social event of the year, so to speak. And tomorrow will be the Feast of Leninomen. And but in the meantime, as you arrive, a tremendous banquet is just getting underway. I mean, the weather here, I mean, it's winter. It's not cold in the Leopard Isles, but you still do want some shelter when you're sleeping. So several large tents have been erected for people who don't have lodgings of their own to stay on the island. But the island of Mistholm itself is like a kind of a small rocky island, mostly covered in green moss and shrubbery, some grasses, a few kind of grazing pastures, but for the most part, it's rocks. This is difficult territory, but on one of the few, on 2 of the few kind of flat places, and one a sort of campground or fairground really has popped up, and then on the other one, there's a large green has been cleared for the events of the tournament, which will start tomorrow. But tonight, everyone is gathered there on what will become the tournament grounds tomorrow, where several long tables, like enough long tables to seat probably 300 or 400 people, have been laid out end on end for several rows. And as you are coming in just a little bit late to the party, so to speak, you see a man, an older knight with kind of like slightly balding and a weather-beaten face, big bulbous nose, whom you assume, based on his coat of arms and based on the deference everybody else is showing him, to be your host, Sir Reilivar, stands. My friends, Yes, come. You in the back. Come in. Have a seat. It is good to see you all here on the last tournament, which I will ever hold here on Mistholm. For nigh on 80 years, this tournament has been a staple of life here in the Leopard Isles. As I grow old, hold on, I gotta mute Discord stuff or I'm gonna go crazy. As I grow older, it becomes a little harder to host this each year. And I don't mind saying, the generous prizes I've given out over the years. Well, even a very wealthy man can't do that sort of thing indefinitely. There's some chuckles and laughs among the crowd. Therefore, I have decided that this year's prize will be the finest of all. Stand up, Irosa. And a young woman seated at his right, you would assume his daughter, stands. She has pale skin, dark hair, very beautiful, very sad looking as well. When I die, I will leave no sons to rule Mistholm in my stead. So I have decided that the most valiant knight, the one who carries the day at the tournament, will have Erosa's hand in marriage. So if any of you are married men, you should withdraw or possibly have your wives killed. Cheers. As there's a loud acclamation, everybody toasts. And yeah, the banquet begins. The food is excellent. There are roast peafowl. Hold on. Why would I try to ad-lib this? I have a whole menu. Menu planning is like that's 90% RPG prep. People don't want you to know this. Elites don't want you to know this, but oh boy. Yeah. Rice cakes, oysters, thin brown rice wine for the first meal. They bring out several live mice that have clearly been fed and like fattened on like grain and alcohol. And they sort of bring all these mice out to show you beforehand. There are thousands of them. And like the serving people come around and like hold one out in front of you. And does everything look to your liking, sir?
Excellent.
And of course these are dormice, which are considered to be like a very opulent food, pretty much for just the wealthy and corrupt. And you know, they sort of like bring them out so they actually weigh some of them in front of the guests, which is kind of like a show of opulence. Second course, crabs, lobster dipped in oil, like heavily spiced, shredded duck fat, peafowl, creamy goat cheeses with apricots, all of this eaten on a bed of rice, served with a really rich dark wine. The dormice who were shown earlier are now brought out. They've been completely scalded, basically gutted, spitted, scalded, and then quartered, dipped in a really rich brown chutney sauce. There is a strong, pungent fruit brandy which is served for dessert, along with a rich dish of stewed pears and peacock's flesh. There are also several large pies here baked into all kinds of crazy shapes. These are not like fruit pies. Like these aren't like sissy American pies. These are pies full of meat and spices and fruits and all kinds of other unimaginable things. The feast is incredible. Like you can't imagine the outlay and treasure alone required, let alone the preparation time and the staff that he must have brought out here. And like there are all these tents with that had smoke coming up out of them when you first landed. You realize now like that's the kitchens. And just the sheer amount of cost, the wealth, everything that must have been poured into this dinner is extravagance at its finest. For many of you, this is the greatest meal you have ever eaten.
That's passable.
This is amazing. My only complaint is this wine. There's nothing to this. Nobody could get drunk on this wine. It's so gentle. It's smooth.
And yet you already have.
And yeah, the feast stretches on long into the night. 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, people are still at it. Do you guys do anything at the feast? Knowing that, all right, so just and you would have been told when you arrived, the layout basically of the next few days is that tomorrow is the grand melee. So in the grand melee, anybody, knights, retainers, everybody is able will basically be divided up into 2 teams, the greens and the blues. You'll be wearing armor, whatever armor you have, and you'll be equipped with basically like rattan rods, like canes, basically. And so it's like a tournament with non-lethal weapons. Like people still die occasionally, but it's not like the main purpose. So tomorrow's the grand melee. The day after that will be the tournament proper, where the knights will enter, and there's basically like a bracket system where you kind of fight your way up. So keeping in mind that's what is in store for you the next couple of days. You guys doing anything tonight at the banquet?
I feel like we
Are
need
we
to.
able-
Does the steerer get to go put his magic X-lax in as many bowls as he possibly can?
Do you want him to do that tonight?
Well, he said that they would have digestive problems for 2 days. And it's a thought. I don't know if our group wants to go down that path, but he suggested it earlier.
I feel like that is the worst way to end the last most wonderful tournament this guy is holding, but I like your ambition.
I'm not.
This is going into the history books, remember?
The last feast was, for some, the last feast.
Well,
Are
it
we
sounded
able to
like
get close enough to the host to try to get a word in with him?
Yeah, I mean, people are kind of moving around all night, and he stays out till like 2 or 3 in the morning. So you can definitely like, as long as you're patient,
Yeah.
you can definitely like come up and say something to him.
Well, before we go up there, we're sitting down.
Yeah,
we're
I will
eating a
just
little-
say he's probably not going to talk to just like peasants.
right. Like it would probably have to be another knight who comes up and talks to him. Okay. To our health and the future, gentlemen.
yes.
The health is the future.
He kind of turns slightly and be like, lowers his voice. An interesting turn of events, don't you think?
So interesting. This is exactly what I was thinking.
That this is the last one. What do you mean?
Well, poor bloke, given his current condition, of which we were informed. I think he's considering his own mortality.
Well, we need to tell him that perhaps we have the key to this not being the last thing. And you might end up winning the whole thing if your bravado had any truth to it. So
Cutting wit as well as a good blade. Well, the only interesting development was his daughter. Curious turn, too. For she, once he succumbs to whatever unfortunate ills that have plagued him all this time, would potentially inherit all of this. And presents a much more, potentially, a sympathetic listener to our cause.
If he were to pass before the war, it would be her support that was needed, would it not? Would she still control the knights?
All of it, sir. Though there's probably a few that would have influence. But he or she, who sits on the throne, so to speak, well, it all comes down to that. I don't flatter myself to say that I would be able to best the finest of these many knights around us, but it does present a rather interesting.
You got to sit up, Jeremy. We're going to be on YouTube. People are going to watch this later. It's like just the top of your head. It's like playing with Ben. Ben is a friend of ours who, if there's a webcam,
yeah, he will be like right here.
Over the course of the session, he's like slowly sinking down to the floor.
And then there's just no more Ben.
and it's funny. He does in real life too. Like in real life, he'll just like slowly expand like a noble gas to like fill all the space on the couch. Just like.
So over the table, do we think this election for the headship of the convent, this is probably within a matter of weeks, days, weeks, months?
Yeah, it's something they're gonna have to figure out in the next few weeks.
Yeah, but and again, this isn't necessarily a right now, because like you said, there's an urgency, but it gives us another person to talk to, potentially to give us a little more influence,
or perhaps even a way to get to talk to her father.
And then we can, not have to go through this whole fighting thing. Not that I wouldn't like to. Just want to put that out there.
He's totally confident in his skills, you guys. Don't worry about it.
Oh yeah, totally got this.
I'm gonna let you guys finish deciding if there's like what you want to do and how you want to approach this. I'm gonna make a quick pit stop. I'll be right back.
So we can potentially. So my thought is, she seems like a much more, again, without even knowing, she would probably be much more sympathetic potentially to, hey, we want to help your father. He's ill, troubled, but we might have an option. So I think like that could be a really good pitch. And then,
well, she's probably also heard of the curse.
Right. And she might actually know what it is. But if we come to her and say, we want to help your father, then we have her advocating for us instead of us just coming on our own merits. He doesn't know who we are. But I mean, also, if
her father.
Sorry, what was that?
Unless she really doesn't like her father, he is, after all, putting her up as the bounty.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know if that's normal or, she's okay with that. But I mean, whoever is fighting for her hand, that's a huge, like, that's your whole future right there. One decisive, or maybe a bunch of decisive battles, and I own an island in the future. I'm aligned to somebody who's got a lot of influence in current state of affairs, an open port, potentially, place of power. That would be huge. So I'm expecting we're not going to be the only one up to some hijinks here to thin out the potential contestants. But I'm thinking, like, if we talk to her first, and like you say, maybe gauge if she wants to help us get him out of the way, or help us to, like, hey, you could give us an audience. We are here to help. And then kind of see where it goes. Do we want to have to go into the tournament, though? Like, I don't know what our odds are at survival.
I would.
Like, that's Jeremy and me. And I'll be honest, my melee skill is slightly above 50%. So I'm not like the best at combat. I could insult them and then get run through, but I guess we could go into it as a contingency, or alternatively, our best fighter actually gets in the armor, assuming that no one would know who it is, fights, and I'm the one whining and dining everyone on the outside after it's all done.
Well, I mean, to quote Delmar, I'm with you fellers, but but I think
All right, guys, what's the plan?
What were you going to say, Jeremy, real quick?
Oh, I was going to say that I think it seems reasonable to try and approach the princess to see, or not the princess, his daughter.
Yeah.
Did you say her name was Eros?
Erosa.
Erosa. Okay, I just imagined Eros.
Close.
Erosa, to see if she, in the off chance that her sadness was because she knows about her father's curse and whatnot, to say, hey, we think we can help your father if you could get us an audience with him. So I think that our silver-tongued person is going to probably try and do that. If everybody is good. I'm, like I say, I'm with you fellers.
That seemed like a good plan.
I think it's our best approach.
Okay.
To begin with, we can always take up combat as the backup if it doesn't work.
Negotiations fail. So our current plan is, while the feasting is going on, we will actually go and try and get a word in with Reilivar's daughter,
Erosa.
Erosa. And by us, I mean we. And by we, I mean me.
You kind of like angle your way towards her. It takes you a little bit of time to kind of work your way through the crowd and catch her at a free moment and everything else. And you finally find her where she's standing in the corner of one of the feasting tents, has a glass of wine in her hand, and she's like, her eyelids are kind of like, she's kind of like staring at the ground. She's very pretty. She's has this she has this air of somebody who, like, in different life circumstances could have been like the belle of the ball. There's like enough charisma there and enough natural beauty and other things, but living where she lives and maybe having gone through what she's gone through, it's hard to say, but there's a sadness about her which almost makes her actually more attractive, but also is like, makes her kind of difficult to approach as well.
Okay. Do I know anything about their particular like what would be a proper way to approach
Well,
the daughter of my host?
yes. So typically speaking, you would approach by, I mean, if you were really doing this the right way, you would get an intermediary, somebody like a relative of hers or a mutual friend or something, to make the introduction. Like just walking up and talking to somebody itself, that's a little gauche.
Hmm.
But given the fact that, you know, you don't really have that option, the sort of accepted way would be to say, hello, my name is Onoram, I'm the son of so and so, and I'm, you know, very pleased to make your acquaintance, and then basically like come in with, yeah, come in strong with a very complimentary thing about her, even if it's not true. You know, if you're paying court to a fair maiden, you know, there's certain forms that have to be observed.
Okay.
Not that you have to do that, but that's what would be expected. That's what all the other guys have been trying all night.
Yeah, no, So part of me is like, is she just kind of over that at this point and wouldn't mind someone just being like, so come here often? I'm gonna do a.
How would you pick up
Anybody want to make a
ball?
side bet?
Yeah, I don't do this well.
How would you pick up a girl?
Run up and be like, you're nice, I'm nice, want to go out?
Oh, don't do that.
Yeah.
Well, and
I
you're
yeah.
not. You're not approaching her to woo her, which probably separates you out. You are there to, hey, we have a message that might help your father. So you're already seeming noble and not self-interested. Perhaps
That's true. So he will, as he's kind of pushing through the crowd, he's Onorama's kind of running through some things in his head, and he's struggling to find the right kind of approach. Like he knows a few of the customs, but it seems a little bit tricky. So he just decides he's going to go for the direct approach, and he approaches her, attempts to catch her eye, but bowing deeply to her. Forgive me, my lady, for my impropriety, but it is on a matter of the gravest importance that I must speak to you.
She doesn't even look at you. Don't tell me, let me guess. You came here to fight in the tournament, but you were so captivated by my beauty, you couldn't let another moment pass without saying something to me.
Though it is true, my lady, that you are beautiful, it is of another matter that I wish to speak to you. It regards, well, your future, but the future of your father, his well-being.
Give me a I would allow influence or perform based on if you feel like this is a performance or like you feel like you're really just trying to speak to her out of your heart. Those are actually the same for you, so it's really just what is your approach?
I do have some traits that would potentially help. But this would probably relying on my dangerous beauty in this case.
Dangerous beauty, Dahlian blood, honey tongued. Any one of those would actually
really,
would actually apply here.
Okay. Well, I will
This
go
is
ahead and.
this is like one of the most talky characters I think I've built.
Right. I was like,
by the way.
everything just poured into this one particular
So
trait.
the way that all of y'all's pre-gens came together, by the way, is that like 6 months ago, I had a pre-gen making party at my house. Were you there, Paul?
I don't think I was.
Sometimes Paul
I
comes.
heard about it.
Yeah, we had a pre-gen making party at my house, and like 10 people came over and just made characters for 3 hours. And I just pulled randomly from the stack for this party. So that's what you guys are playing with.
Right. If I for if I use the trait though, remind me.
Reroll the ones die and take the better result.
Okay. It was the same. So 32.
Amazing. Okay.
So close. But that is
so
a
close to that
success.
crit.
Yeah, so close.
I'm listening.
It is with hope that I come. For though I would not be so impish to presume that I understand your father or your personal affairs, there is hope for him to lay his mind at rest, to find a cure for the great darkness that seems to hang over him.
She grabs you by the collar and like,
oh, we just met.
What are you talking about?
I was not given full knowledge of the situation, but only a message that must reach your father to potentially help him in his dark time. It is on this that I come to you, to petition you. Though I would normally have found someone to introduce us, the necessity of what I bring, it is time sensitive. And so I come to you, hoping that you will help me gain an audience with him before this tournament begins.
You are barking up the wrong tree. There is no curse.
Then what is this that hangs about him? Forgive me. That is improper of me to ask. Of course, I would not presume upon your personal matters. Clearly, I have made a mistake, and I am sorry.
Since I was a little girl, there have been these crazy rumors of what happened to my mother. I'm afraid my father has taken some of those to heart. But it's not true. He didn't kill her. He wasn't the mad one.
But to say that, of course, would make him look all the more guilty.
He's too honorable a man to admit it. And he feels, I don't know, I'm telling you this, he believes that he failed her. But he still thinks there was something he could have done to stop it.
Yes. Regret is a terrible friend and a worse companion.
So I don't know who sent you here, but I'm just telling you, you're barking up the wrong tree. There's no curse, just sadness, that's all.
Is what your father seeks, then, though there is no curse, as you say, perhaps what I could offer him then is the cure that he does not know he needs. Forgiveness, hope for himself.
And how exactly do you think you can offer him that?
It is not I, but another, more powerful than I. But these words that I bring of hope must go to him directly. It is not that I don't distrust you, but I would not want it to reach other ears before his. It is for him that I must speak.
Come to the house tonight. After he's gone to his chambers, I will let you in. You must swear to me, on your honor as a knight, that you mean him no harm.
I swear.
He's gonna kill me for this. All right. Come tonight. In an hour or two, he and I will retire to bed, and the rebels continue. Come knock at the back door, and I will let you in.
Then I shall not take up any more of your precious time. Thank you.
It is a pity you're so young. They're going to eat you alive tomorrow.
Well, if I am able to bring some semblance of happiness once again to your life, my lady, and perhaps peace to your father, then I believe that I shall fare better in the games than any.
Your strength is as the strength of 10 because your heart is pure, is that what you're saying?
Perhaps you will wish me good luck.
If you can bring my father some peace, I will even give you a token.
And for that promise alone, I shall not be a moment later than the allotted hour. I bid you farewell.
All right. What are you guys doing?
He returns to the small group and tells them quietly so that our other more loud riotous friend cannot hear, quietly distracting him to be like, go get something to drink, and then tells him,
you guys want anything? I've only had a couple of drinks, but I was thinking about getting a little bit more. You guys want anything? Listen. People don't know this, but I used to be a juggler. I can carry so many drinks. Just watch. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
gonna end up in jail. And then he tells the group their conversation.
far better result than what I had intended, but we have our audience.
Do you plan to go to this meeting alone, or do you wish to be accompanied?
Yeah, fair question. I think a small retinue of my vassals that would be accompanying me would not be inappropriate.
We had one warning, and that was to not go to the house at night.
Not to sleep in the house, I believe, was the instructions. But if anything this young woman says is true, then these rumors...
From your account, my first thought was that maybe she's the one that harmed her mother, and her father took credit for it.
I like that a lot, by the way.
That's
Kind of. Never mind.
he's like, no. Next time.
It's a good idea, though. It's a good idea.
Well, but does she look like the kind of person who looks disturbed, distraught by evil spirits? I don't doubt you good man, but in your wanderings of the world, she seemed like the type that would have brutally and viciously murdered her own mother?
We don't know that it was brutally and viciously. You can murder someone very simply and cleanly.
I'm filling in the blanks here. Don't interrupt. But even that, I mean, look at her. She's not involved. She looks quite sad and lonesome. The person who would murder its own mother, wouldn't they revel in it? Enjoy it even? That did not look like the sort of person who is plagued by evil spirits, but a person who is plagued by other burdens.
If evil spirits went around claiming to be evil and acting evil, people wouldn't ever allow them in.
True. But one does tend to see the signs.
This is the lead we have.
But I put it before you. Is there any objections? Any cautions? I mean, granted, I would not necessarily sleep in the house overnight, but an interview could be good. And this is the opportunity that we came for.
Oh, absolutely. I am, as I am pretending to also be a knight, I could not pass as one of your vassals. I would probably stay out and make sure our friend doesn't get into any juggling trouble.
You hear, as you say that, just this crashing noise and several people swearing as he goes, "Lord, I got it. I got it."
This is by far my favorite part.
There's always an NPC that steals the show.
It's true.
I think this gives us the advantage of a private conversation, which we might not otherwise have. And so we cannot do what we've come to do without taking some risk. I think it's worth it.
Yes. Though.
And for what it's worth, I would purpose to accompany you
Great poet.
and keep my eyes open to see if any chicanery develops.
As the philosopher says, there is safety in numbers and friends who are good with a blade. No, I made that up. That's not from any philosopher. But it's true, nonetheless. Well then, so
Philosophy.
it's a good philosophy. So,
Is there anything more that we want to do, or do we want to just chill, or what?
You should invent, unless you intend to leave me outside, you should invent, or we should invent some reason that I am in your service.
Ah, that is a good thought.
I don't intend to draw attention to myself as your retainer, but
It was necessary to bring able-bodied individuals into my service to ensure that our journey here and back would be uneventful. And you're a stout, hardy fellow, so more's the merrier.
it sounds good to me. Just wanted you to have it ready rather than scramble in the moment.
Ah, well, that is some good thinking, and I think our preparations will be necessary for this particular moment. I think I have everything down that the good mother told us to tell. Was there anything that you think we should not say, or perhaps save? I'm not sure necessarily. I have not gauged the temperament of Reilivar, but he's a man of honor. But there is still that incident of the young fellow fleeing the house. like a crazy man, as if the madness of Reilivar had been contagious. But if he is not mad, then what was it that he faced that drove him so far from home? On this point, I think hinges our success or failure to go in prepared. But who could we ask? Who would tell us what happened that night, other than Reilivar himself? And at that point, it might be too late.
I don't want to be one to put words in your mouth, but I would probably stay away from the threats that Asiar suggested and stick with the offerings of peace that Mother Amala mentioned, the relics, the shrine, the favors of the convent. You know, keep it more carrot, less stick. I mean,
Astute observation.
yes, you're going to be in his bedchamber, probably.
And you have involved his daughter in this audience.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
And I have given my word that I will do him no harm, but I did not promise anything for the rest of you, so. Though I don't believe it should have to come to that. I think peaceful. As enthusiastic as that Atuar is of getting the point across, I think that this can be resolved peacefully. At least I hope it can.
And if it does happen to get hairy, the steerer and I will be out here to hear when it happens.
How shall I summon you? Just call your name, or say I am in danger, or yell very loudly?
Shoot like a barn owl twice and like a spruce owl 3 times.
Something tells me we'll know.
Yes. Then I believe we should make the most of this feast, though sharp wits, for our evening still lies before us.
Maybe we should leave the drinking to Puri, but enjoy the food ourselves.
Ah, good suggestion. Okay.
All right. So later that evening, about 2 hours, Onorama, you and everybody but Herrick. Herrick, are you the only one that's staying out?
That's up to the others.
I mean, you are the only other person with the cloak. So
Yeah, so I can stay out and the rest can be your bag carriers and whatnot.
Okay.
I guess I'm alone.
All of you except for Herrick and Puri show up at the back door of the great hall at about 2 a.m. You knock. And after a moment, the door opens and you see the Lady Irosa standing there with a lamp in hand. She looks questioningly over your shoulder at the others. I did not realize you'd be bringing others with you.
Merely my vassals.
Can
And another nobleman of my acquaintance. And he points over to Herrick.
we count upon their discretion?
Of course. They have traveled with me these few months.
But you didn't bring Herrick with you. Herrick's not there.
Oh, but he was. Oh, where is Herrick?
Sorry, wait. Maybe I misunderstood. Are you staying at the party, Jeremy?
I'm staying at the party. I'm hanging out.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, the boat steer.
you're just making sure he stays
We're
well
hanging out.
within.
He's doing shots right now.
I'm nowhere close.
Okay, so, but my vassals, in the last few months that I have traveled with him. They have proven themselves most trustworthy.
Very well. Come inside. And as soon as you're all inside, she pulls you into a passionate kiss.
Do I feel a knife anywhere? Like she's stabbing me? No, okay, okay. Just wanted to check.
In the moment that I saw you in the tent, I knew that you were the one that I was hoping for. Come with me. There is something I have to show you before you speak with my father.
Rolling to see if she's up to something.
Give me a perception test.
And no, that is not a success. I'm loving it. Totally.
I have
Take me where you will.
Do I
mean-
notice anything?
I mean,
I have
she's
a talent.
so technically, guys, in the clash system, it's really just one person in the group that makes the roll, unless
Yeah.
it's combat. So because Paul went ahead and made the perception roll, he's
Okay.
way your opportunity to make the roll. So you can have your own suspicions personally, but you can't roll dice for them. As far as you know, Onorama, man,
Turn down the charm.
she's got that big goth girl energy. Like, you can fix her. Like,
Wow.
you can definitely, like, you know, she's broken, but you can fix her. That's kind of how you're feeling right now. Jeremy, as Herrick, as you're in the back in the party tent, a kind of a stately older gentleman approaches you. Not a knight, at least not by his clothing, but definitely somebody of a noble family, or at least wealthy. He's well dressed. He has good poise, kind of like one of those guys born with like aluminum rod down his spine, you know, just like perfect posture. Kind of has big like Hugh Grant energy, you know? And says, so you've come from Laficourt-Pim, have you?
Only recently just arrived.
Yes, it's only that I saw you in the city before you set out for the island.
Oh, did you?
I believe your employer is a bit of a cat person.
I stifle a bit of a grin before I realize what I've done. The one could say that, I suppose.
Although you may perhaps doubt this, the people I work for and the people you work for claim to want the same thing. But the Prince of Midnight is not all he claims to be. If you have a few moments, I would love to speak to you about your future and the future of the Leopard Isles.
You know, he is a bit of a character shrouded in mystery. Yes, let's have a seat.
You've never met him, of course. He said after sitting down. You've never met him, of course.
To my knowledge, no one has ever met him. Very strange.
That a little odd for someone who's supposed to be the charismatic leader of a political movement, don't you think?
it has struck me as odd that someone who claims leadership has gone missing, or not gone missing, but makes it a habit of not being known. I mean, I understand the desire for privacy and whatnot, and I suppose I've always written it off as that.
What if I were to propose to you a scenario? Have you heard of a man called Tangleber Silverhand?
Would I need to roll for?
Give me a culture other roll or a lore test.
Andrew and I in the corner being like, yes.
Checking my old notes. Oh,
What was it that they said about anything between 90 and 100 is?
So if you roll a 91 to 100, it's a failure, no matter
Okay,
what your skill is.
Okay, it was a 90 and a 0, but I did not pass that. So I
You're not a very well-informed spy, are you? Well, Tangleber Silverhand is the man who's been causing all of the trouble in the Leopard Isles these last few months. His agents are believed to have even been behind the assassination of Mother Zishune. Now, if you've never heard of him, then perhaps the next thing I have to tell you will not mean so much to you. So you just have to pretend to trust me. See where it goes. I believe that this Tangleber Silverhand is this so-called Prince of Midnight, and that he's a vagabond, not possessed, in fact, of the tokens of kingship, but stirring up sedition in the Leopard Isles for his own gain. I'm not asking you to believe me now, but when you get back to Lafri Corpain, ask around about this character. I think you'll find that he has many strong similarities with the master you claim to serve. And I think you'll find that he does not have the best interests of the Leopard Isles. If you find that to be the case, and you'd like to do something about it, I'll find you.
You have roused my interest, good sir.
Glad that I could be of interest.
Indeed.
So meanwhile, back at the house, the Lady Irosa takes you through the Great Hall and actually up to the high seat. Every year, my father holds a tournament. Do you know what happens to the man who wins? Oh, you're on mute, Paul.
I'm told he is given some fantastic reward of some kind.
Yes. Can you name anyone who has ever won such a reward?
Let me think. Strange, I don't seem to be able to call any names to mind now that you mention it.
Exactly. What I have to show you next is of the utmost secrecy. I don't know why, but I seem to trust you. No one who has ever won the tournament has left this island. My father's wealth and prosperity. I better just show you. She walks up behind the high seat, and you see her kind of feeling around for something. And finally, she presses something down on the throne, and the throne swivels to the side. And beneath it, there's a staircase leading down. Follow me. And taking her lamp in hand, she heads down the stairs.
The rest of you want to? I know what he's gonna do. The rest of you want to follow?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
My mother, she's speaking as she walks now down the stairs. My mother was not a good woman. There is a darkness out there in the sea. And sometimes it takes ships. Like sailors call them poison tides. My mother was lost in one shortly after I was born. I think she was missing for a week. Everyone thought she was dead. But when she came back, or so I'm told, she came back changed. My father looked her away. And ever since that day, my life has been consumed with pain and sorrow, loneliness. And you know, the worst part is that every time I bring her someone nice, she doesn't approve of them. And at this point, you reach the bottom of the stairs, and you find yourself in kind of this stone chamber, like cut into the rock beneath the hill. In the middle of the room, there's a altar of stone. It's caked with dried blood. There are several horrifying instruments of torture, or perhaps ritual instruments, set on a table off to one side. Mother, I've brought you dinner. And at that point, something drops from the ceiling.
I think this is our cue to run back up the stairs.
I would like you guys to please roll initiative for me.
Well, we are not getting together. I'm just saying that. You have totally killed the vibe.
So the way initiative
roll a
works in this game is you roll a d6 and you add it to your deftness score, which should also be on your sheet as initiative, but it's actually the same thing.
Okay, Daryl is an
So
18.
D6 deftness.
Yes, D6 plus deafness.
Yes.
Deafness.
Deafness.
I have 16.
All right, so hold on. Let me get everybody's numbers. All right, so we got a 16. What else?
15.
15,
18.
14.
and 18,
Then and 14.
and a 14. 14, 15, 16, 18. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. All right, and then she gets a ooh, she gets a 19. All right, mother goes first. All right. Back at the party, Jeremy. I'm sure you have questions for me. How I know the things that I know, who I work for.
Among the many questions, one I have would be what relationship or opinion of Onway do you and your associates have?
Relationship and opinion of Onway.
Relationship to and opinion of. You know what I mean.
I believe that King Onway has been a useful fool up until recently. Currently, his uses seem to be outweighing his liabilities, or the other way around. It is true that I answer to a Mistress Insen Kankar. But she has been a good mistress. And she is not well, an idealist maniac committed to a cause. She's a realist. The king is mad. He cannot endure forever, and when he steps down, or is made to step down, or meets his end, someone will have to sit the throne. There are a limited number of people with the qualifications necessary. But we intend to be behind the man who becomes the next king of these lands. And it will not be your Midnight Prince. Do you know why he has not revealed himself, Eric?
Why is that?
There are 5 royal regalia. The blade of Senkan, which is lost. From the north, your people, there is the gem of Fanhal. From these isles, There's the cloak of midnight, which the son of Orusen took from the corpse of the first Prince of Midnight, who ruled over these isles in the time before the times. From the Red Isle, there's the key of Reinhold the Builder. And from the Niedbori, there is a crown. And your Midnight Prince does not have a single one of these. Certainly not the Cloak of Midnight, which any claimant, the rule of these isles, must wear. You would know from sort of general lore, Herrick, that what he's talking about are the 5 regalia. So these are the 5 artifacts, one from each of the Emborian cultures, which have to be present at the coronation of a legitimate king. When Onwe was made king, he didn't have any of them. He was just sort of made king without the actual coronation ritual. And because the Hur Orupen, which is the most important of the 5, is missing. But each of the cultures actually has their own sort of, it's not on the same level as the Hur Orupen, but they have their sort of own equivalent of this is the token of rule for this particular group of people. Typically speaking, the regalia are kept by the culture they belong to, and they're just produced at the time of the coronation. But if anybody were to set themselves up as a ruler of the Leopard Isles, for instance, one basic assumption would be they would have to have the Cloak of Midnight to rule it legitimately.
I understand. Well, it is certainly in my interest what type of king is enthroned. And I think we've had quite enough of pretenders to the throne, don't you?
Indeed.
My people's main desire is to maintain, let's say, a comfortable distance and a reasonable degree of taxation, commensurate with the limited degree of help that we get from the South. But as you say, a legitimate king could be of interest to us both.
What if I could assure you of all of the above? What if, for instance, Onoram of the Bold was found to have a legitimate claim to the throne? Onoram was the sort of like the strong man who's currently ruling the north. He's pretty popular with locals. Yeah.
You have more than my interest.
All I need from you for now is your thoughtful consideration. A few weeks, someone, I or one of my colleagues, may approach you and simply ask, what it is that the Midnight Prince has asked you to do. Not asking you to stick any knives between any shoulder blades, just information. And if you can provide that, then hopefully we can all move towards, how did you say, a managed distance and a reasonable level of taxation for all of us. All right, so
Drink and nods and
nice. A form drops from the ceiling. It is moving in such a blur that it is hard for you to even keep track of where it is going, but it appears to be a shape that was once a woman. Its body is, its skin is pale. What few rags still clinging to its form are moldy and heavy with stench. And it jumps towards you, Onorama, with her claws extended. So I'm going to need so it's going to be attacking you. Would you like to clash, Paul?
Yes.
So the way this works, for those of you who haven't played the clash system before or seen one of the demos that we did, is that when you roll, when something attacks you, you don't have to sit there and take it. You can spend one of your clash points. Clash points come back at the start of your turn each round. So you can spend them on your turn to do extra damage and things like that. But then you can also save them and spend them on your opponent's turn. And when your opponent attacks you, you can spend a clash point to clash with them, which turns it from they have to roll to hit you to they have to roll against your roll, and whoever wins gets to deal the damage. So in the clash system, combat is not a static thing. You're not just sitting there waiting to see if you get hit. You can actually interfere with what your opponent is doing. So in this case, it's attacking Paul. Paul, are you clashing?
Yes. So
All
spend
right.
1 point for that.
Tell me what you got.
I just need to spend 1 point.
Yeah,
correct?
1 point to clash. Yep. And then basically you can either roll dodge to dodge, or you can roll melee combat to basically try to counterattack.
I will roll melee combat to try and counterattack.
All right.
Not wonderful, but 35.
35. So a 35 would normally succeed, but in the case of a clash, what we're looking to see is who gets the highest under their target number.
Yep.
So in my case, I rolled a 62, which is still under my target number and higher than what you rolled. So Erosa's mother will win the clash. So that means the first attack goes through here. She digs one of her claws into you. It sinks in through your gambeson right into your flesh, and you feel the life begin to sap out of you.
Okay.
You're going to take 12 points of damage.
All right.
Make sure you factor in your protection. Unfortunately, you're not wearing your nice armor yet.
Right.
So factor in your protection. For the next round, all clash point actions that you take will cost 1 extra clash point.
Okay.
She gets the second attack. Are you clashing against the second attack?
It'll be a total of 2. Yes, I will.
All right, so you got to spend 2 clash points this time.
All right, and I will attempt to. I will attempt to try and strike her with me blade. 49, which is still within my melee combat.
All right. That will hit.
Yes.
I failed my roll this time, so that'll hit.
All right. So I will roll. He basically, as she kind of like digs in, he reaches for his sheath, draws out his longsword, and just slashes as he draws it out, just slashing her with it. So that'll be a D10 plus D4. It doesn't actually have it on my sheet. I'm assuming it's a D4.
Your strength bonus?
My damage bonus.
You don't have a damage bonus. The strength is 9.
Oh, because it's too low. Okay, I was used to it being like just D4, but it's usually because it's making warrior characters. Okay, so D10 rolling damage. That is 6 damage.
Okay.
What does it look like?
as you draw the blade across her stomach, you trace a thin kind of a line. Again, she's barely got any rags still hanging on, and her form is barely still human. But as you trace a thin line, you see hundreds of maggots
Oh.
actually kind of like crawl out of the wound and begin to kind of like scatter around as the wound just kind of closes back behind it. Doesn't seem like you really did her very much damage at all.
Oh, that is disgusting.
All right. It's everybody else's turn now. So all of you except for Jeremy, who decided not to come. Okay,
It's like I will live.
Right, because Jeremy is setting up a fun. How did you just have fireworks? What the heck just happened?
I have no idea how
That was
I'm gonna do it again. Thumbs up.
what?
What?
Does that work for all of us?
What is going on?
Does that work
No.
for
Did you
me?
set that up?
No, I don't.
Oh, we'd
That
like
is
to.
amazing. It
I
was
don't
so
have
perfectly
any-
timed.
Will it happen? Will it work a third time if you do it? No.
Okay, I'm gonna Google that while you guys are all
Yeah,
dying.
please do. I really want to know. I will say I'm sorry that you didn't show up to the big fight, but also like you set up a cool double agent situation, which
Yeah.
can affect the campaign in some other ways. So anyway, it's totally cool. All
That
right,
is
so it's
crazy.
everybody other than Jeremy gets to take a turn now, including Paul. That wasn't Paul's turn just now. He was just reacting to something on her turn. So
Is there room for
and you
ranged
guys can
combat
go in
down here?
any order. You guys can go in any order. So
Is there
Yeah,
enough
what-
space for range combat, or
so
how big is this room?
it's dimly lit. The only light source in here, because nobody else was carrying anything. The only light source in here currently is Irosa's lantern. So it's dimly lit. I would say that any range shots are going to be difficult in here. And it's a small chamber. It's about 20 feet by 20 feet.
Yeah. So the difficulties on percentile basically will go up incrementally the more challenging a task.
Yeah.
What would be what would that add to our roll?
So a difficult means a minus 25 to your target.
Okay.
So if your target is normally a 50, now your target is a 25.
Okay.
Yeah. That's just a range combat.
Yeah.
But yeah, like
Right.
close quarters, poor lighting, chance of hitting somebody you didn't mean to hit, all this stuff kind of adds up. All right, so you guys can go in any order here. So who wants to go first?
I'll go.
All right.
Oh yeah, what is?
I'm gonna draw my great axe.
All right, yeah. So you draw your great axe, and are you attacking the monster?
Yep.
All right. So it's going to clash with you. So you're going to roll a D100 against your melee combat score.
And I succeed.
All right. It fails the clash, so you hit. So how much damage does your axe do?
It says 2d8s.
All right. So go and roll damage.
And if you get a damage bonus die, I don't know if his character would have one, but you also roll that with it.
Yeah, he's got a D4.
So 2d8s plus a d4 for damage.
Let's see, that was 15.
That's
Holy
solid.
crap. All right.
Don't mess with it. This is why I bring you guys along.
You draw your huge axe and slam blade into her body. You hear a kind of faint like squeaking and shrieking as maggots and other sort of vermin knocked free from her body. Like you see like a couple of small rats and a pile of maggots that just go kind of like crawling across the floor as they as they just get knocked out of her body. But yeah, that one hurt a lot.
None of you happen to bring like fire or anything.
All right, who's next?
Raul will go in with his short sword.
All right, give me an attack roll. She'll go and clash with you.
Ooh. All right. Well, this is exciting. That's a failure on an 88.
I also failed on an 88. I don't know what the odds are.
So what? No, normally with like cash and stuff, like that's crazy. But like normally, like aggressor wins that. But if you both fail, like
Nothing happens. Yeah.
what
I
are
failed
the
on an 88 and I
odds?
was like, well, dang it. And
And he gets it
yeah,
too.
so there you go. There you go. That's crazy. All right, who's next?
That's me, I guess. What
Yeah,
can I do with the
or
clash?
Paul, like you guys can go in any order.
Yeah.
Usually
Oh.
once a group plays together long enough, they start to figure out, okay, you go first, then
Yeah.
I'll cast the spell,
Yeah.
and then I'll do,
Yeah.
you know,
Since we're all just like we've got sharp
Yeah.
blades, it's just like everyone just shiver.
Yeah.
I've got a mace actually. And oh, I got an 8. 008.
All right.
Oh.
Let's spend a clash point to clash with you. So she's gonna hit you.
Yeah.
Instead of you hitting her on a 29 beats your 8. So she hits you with a relentless strike. You take 12 points of damage.
So that I subtract the number of protection points from that.
Yes, that's right. And then damage goes to your valor first, and when your valor runs out, it goes to wounds. All right, Paul, you're the only one left.
All right. I'll go ahead and strike at her with my long sword. That'll miss.
Okay.
61.
Right. The light in the room begins to fade, and you realize that Irosa is running back up the stairs now.
Someone catch her.
And it's the monster's turn. So she's gonna attack, hopefully more than one target, but she's gonna, let's see, who just hit her really hard? Was that
That was totally not me.
was that Ralus? All right, yeah, she's gonna attack Ralus. All right, do you want to clash?
Absolutely.
All right, so you spend a clash point. When you're playing in person, like poker chips or something like that are really helpful for keeping track of your clash points. So you spend a clash point, and you just roll melee if you want to counterattack, or dodge if you want to dodge.
I'm going to dodge, I think.
All right.
Yeah. No, I believe I failed.
All right, well, I succeeded. So she hits you with another one of these withering strikes. This time she just bites right into your shoulder, like sinks her teeth in past your chainmail. And you feel like the life start to pulse out of you. There is so you take 12 damage, and for the next round, all clash point actions and abilities cost 1 additional clash point. And then she's also going to use her second attack here to bite you, Paul.
Okay. I will go ahead and clash. And that's the withering thing is still effect on me, right?
For the next round. So no, it would have worn off now.
Okay. So we'll go ahead and clash. They combat. That is an 11.
Well, screw you right to heck, Paul. All right, so we want to know an 11 is a critical success. So basically, if you roll doubles like 11, 22, 33, 44, 55, 66, that's a crit. If it's below your skill level, then it's a critical success. If it's above, it's a critical failure. So I rolled a nice 37. I was looking forward to draining some of Paul's life force, but Paul rolled a crit. So that means that not only does his roll beat my roll, but he's going to do maximum damage. So Paul, what you got?
Well, I'd like to also spend another 2 clash points
You
to.
can't do that on a response. You can only do that on your turn.
Oh, on my turn. Okay.
Yeah. Nice try.
I tried. So 10 points of damage.
Oof. Okay.
How are we tracking damage, by the way?
What do you mean?
So I took damage. What how am I tracking
I
that?
assume you're running it down your character sheet.
Okay. Is there a
Oh yeah, sorry, you can
spot?
copy down, just copy down
Valor.
so damage goes to Valor first. Sorry. Damage goes to
Okay.
Valor first, and then after your Valor, it starts going to your wounds. Once your Valor is used up.
Okay. There we go.
Yep. Sorry, I misunderstood your question. So you did 10
Oh,
damage,
good.
Paul? All right.
Mhm.
Well, that's rude. Okay. Any of you in any order? Who wants to go next?
Earl will go in again with the short sword.
All right. She's gonna classic.
Succeeding this. Okay, succeeding with a 34.
My 62 beats your 34.
Oh.
Okay.
So you take 12 damage.
Oh.
And as she like just like jams her fingers like into your gut, drains a bit of your life away, so your clash point expenditures are +1 now. Yeah. Okay, who's next?
I will chase after Erosa.
Okay, give me
Try
an
to stop.
athletics test.
She has the only light.
Yep.
We have torches, but athletics.
Yep.
40. All right.
Feel like she'll be next. Treachery.
This is not good. 99.
Oh.
So
So is
here's
that
what
right?
happens. You start running up the
Oh.
stairs towards her.
Oh.
And as she reaches the top of the stairs, you throw your arm out trying to catch her, and you overcommit, and you face plant into the stairs face forward, and all the way back down to the bottom. As you do so, the trap door at the top of the stairs shuts, and the room goes dark. Who's next?
All right. So if we wanted to do some like light a torch or something, could we spend a clash point to do like as a, I don't know if it would count as a second weapon, but what would it need to be like to light a torch and then attack?
So lighting a torch will take 1d4 rounds. You have to get your torch out. You have to get your flint and steel going. Like,
Oof.
I don't know why RPG players are always like, oh, I can light a torch as a free action. Like,
Right.
have you ever tried to start a fire in the middle of a fight?
Yeah.
Like
Because
with a flint and steel. Like you
Yeah.
don't have a big lighter, like or like matches. So it's
This
gonna
is-
it'll take 1d4 rounds, Paul.
everyone thinks it's fast because they always do the time skip. There's a reason why, because it took 30 minutes to light the torch or start a fire.
Yeah. Well, the thing about a torch is like it's got like it's dipped in pitch, etc. So it is like actually flammable, you know. But even then, like you have
Yeah.
to like kneel down, get a spark going, like all that stuff. And there's a battle going on around you, you know. So like you need 1d4 rounds of uninterrupted, nobody's trying to kill me time to light a torch. Which doesn't mean don't do it. I'm just saying that's like everyone else needs to like
Yeah.
plan for that. So
He's like, you hold her off. I'll get us some light.
And he'll actually take some time to get a torch lit. So will that need me to roll for anything, or is it just I reach into my pack, pull a torch, and start the process?
Yeah, so let me roll a d4. Okay, I'll let you know when the torch is lit.
Okay.
All right, so you're huddled in, you so kind of back away
Up against the
as
wall
much
there,
as you
and I'm
can
just
in the dark. Your back hits something. You're not sure if it's the creepy altar or the wall. You hope it's the wall.
oh no.
And you start trying to light the torch. All right. So that was Daryl and Onorama. So Lenanom and Ralus, you guys are all that's left.
No, my
All
turn
right.
is disaster.
Oh, that's right.
that's
All right, Ralus, you're up.
So
That's all you can.
All right.
what's the difficulty in fighting in the dark?
-50 to your target. You're completely blind. There's no light in here. You're swinging blindly. And I will say, if you critically fail swinging in the dark, you're going to hit somebody you did not mean to hit.
Well,
I see in the the draft I have, you can spend you can spend 3 clash points to strike an invisible or in total darkness target.
Oh,
How would that work?
so I have the trait of being panther-eyed. Does that modify anything?
That's
Ooh.
for ambush.
So that's really just for detecting ambushes. It's not like dark vision. That would have been a useful thing
to detect this.
like 5 minutes ago. Unfortunately, Onoran was too busy snogging to detect ambush.
Yeah, got snuckered into that.
So you can try and attack, but yeah, it's gonna be it'll be hard to hit something in the dark.
Well, I think I'm going to go ahead and try to attack.
Okay. All right, give me an attack roll. She is gonna clash with you.
Okay. I rolled a 21, which puts me under the 25% for my
Nice.
yes. So the clash point or that she spent, how does that resolve?
So the amazing thing is I rolled a 95, so I automatically fail.
Oh no.
So you actually hit even in the dark. You hit. So go and give me your damage.
Okay.
You can spend 2 clash points to add an extra d6 to your damage with a power strike if you want to.
Sure.
Yes, he wants to.
Yeah. So
Don't
D4,
have
two
to.
D8s,
Please don't
and a
feel like you have to
D6.
hurt my
Yeah.
monsters.
Okay, so a D4, a pair of D8s, and a D6.
Yep.
Okay.
That's solid.
She's a big old handful of dice.
He's just swinging in a circle, hoping the blade hits something.
Luckily, I'm on the ground.
Yeah, he's like just.
Like
16.
Yoshimitsu from the old Tekken game.
How much?
16.
16.
16. Whoa.
No, 16.
16. Oh, you're just like carving. There's gonna be limbs flying pretty soon.
All right. You swing about blindly in the dark with what's your weapon? Is an axe, right?
Yeah, this is the great axe.
Yeah. You swing about blindly in the dark with your axe. As you do so, you definitely it feels exactly like being in the slaughterhouse and like you swing a cleaver into just like a huge side of meat. Like you impact something really solid. You hear the squeals and squeaks of various kinds of vermin. But it's and like you try not to think about it too hard. It is her turn and she is really pissed. So she's attacking you. If you want to clash, you can do so.
And you
Yes,
can
that would be
dodge too
great.
if you
But
want.
you're
I
still
don't
at
know
your
what your
minus
dodge is.
25 as Onorama's over the corner, still hastily trying to get sparks going, but the torch is not lit yet.
Right. So does the fact we're in the dark give me any advantage to dodge?
Only if she can't see in the dark, which you don't know. But you don't know when attack is coming. Like you don't know what's coming. So you're
Right.
still at your
Like-
minus
Okay.
50 no matter what you do.
I'm gonna. Oh yeah, minus
You
50.
don't know if she has modifiers or not.
I'm going to try to attack.
Okay.
Awesome.
Give him some
numbers are
more. Give
actually-
him some more.
I love it.
Oh, 17.
Oh,
All right, so my 35 will be your 17.
that's still.
So she hits you with the first attack for 12 points of damage. All right.
Okay.
And then she has a second attack also coming your way. Because you hurt her real good. So you spent 2 clash points on your last turn and 1 clash point just now. So you're down 3. Do you want to clash against this next attack or not?
Yeah,
All right,
I'll do melee again.
do it.
98.
Oh, that's not good. That's real not. That's real bad. So I got a 63. So you take another 12 points of damage. She's
right.
just like tearing away, rending flesh.
So I'm at 0 valor now.
Yep. So anything else you take is going into wounds now.
Anything I want?
Anything else, any more damage you take starts going into your wounds. So you're going to start checking off those wounds 1 row at a time.
Okay.
All right. Who's up?
I'll go.
All right.
But well, I have minus 50. Not sure what I can do.
It's up to you. What's your melee combat score?
50.
Okay, so you can't hit anything in the dark.
And that trap door would be, there would probably be a throne on top of it, right?
You
Is
want
this-
to try to get up there and start trying to open it?
Hmm. Or I can try to light a torch also while I'm
Yeah,
useless.
you can try that if you want to.
Yeah, I'll do that.
That was actually what Daryl will do as well. He's going to back
The
up as far as
sounds,
he can.
the sounds of flint and steel.
Everyone, yeah. Uh-huh.
Give us light.
There's
Growing
actually a light switch on
panic.
the wall we didn't notice.
Yeah. Did you think about throwing the switch?
All right. So you are lighting a torch. I'm just gonna roll for. Okay, I'll let you know when it's lit. All right. What else? What's everybody else doing?
Was that to Laminum or to Daryl?
Yeah, Lenonome is lighting a torch.
That's what Daryl is also doing. He's backing
All
up
right.
and digging in his back
All
for
right.
a
I'll let
torch.
you know when yours lights.
Yep.
Sorry.
Ralus and Odorama. Ralus, what you got?
All right. Well, time to make another blind attack in the dark.
Yeah. What's
Love
the
it.
worst that could happen?
I love it.
So Onorama is still working on his torch right now. So does it light or is he still doing that?
I'll let you know in a second.
Okay.
I fail.
All right. I also failed clashing with you. Onorama, your torch lights. You get to spark, and it. You're now holding a lit torch in one hand. As you light up, it is like a horror show in here. Your back, in fact, is against the gross altar. There are maggots, kind of like trying to worm their way into your boots. This monstrous, hideous form is just like tearing your friends apart. And you're locked in here, which is not great.
Well, we're gonna kill this thing. Let's attack.
All right, what you got?
So we'll go through with melee with his long sword.
All right, she's going to clash.
Ooh, so close. 59 to my 57. So
I
a
got
failure.
31. So you're gonna take 12 points of damage.
That's gonna hurt.
All right. Well, it's her turn. And you see her like looming over you now as you swing at her and miss, and she kind of backhands you back into the altar. You feel your nose bleeding, and you reach up to wipe it away, and it's just a maggot crawling out of your nose.
Yep.
And she just lets out this hideous scream. No words. Whatever this thing has become, it is beyond words.
You are no lady.
And she attacks you. Would you like to clash?
Yes. Well, not great. That is a 12.
I got a 95, so you still beat me.
Oh, okay. 10 points of damage. Just straight shiv.
All right. All right. She's still up. But she has like several gashes where you guys have hit her, and she's just like leaking, just like maggots, rats, beetles, cockroaches, just like vermin, just kind of pouring out of her wounds. You guys are up in any order.
All right, I'll throw down the quit trying to light my torch.
Okay.
Light now.
It's a shame because it would have been lit this round, but
Yeah.
Well, I would have known that before I had to make a move, right?
Yes. At the start of your turn, your torch is lit.
All right.
Well, we have some options in case one of us dies.
Anyway, I will hit her attack with melee combat,
All right. She's gonna clash.
and I got a 5. I mean,
I got a 90.
Oh, but you need a 91 though, right? Oh, but you okay, yeah.
Fails.
Still too high. So
okay.
It
Do I
was-
roll for damage or
you rolled, yeah.
okay? That's a 1d8 plus 4. Can I use clash points to make?
Yeah, you spend 2 clash
Power.
points to add an extra d6.
All right.
Well spent.
Let's see. 10 points total.
What are you attacking with? I don't know if I caught
Mace.
a mace. That's right.
Well, yeah,
coming
you
in for a-
smash her across the side of the face, and you see like the bones
Oh,
crumple inward. Her neck snaps to the side at a weird angle, and everything kind of like snaps back. All right,
What?
who's next?
So Daryl will also drop his torch unless
Yeah, your
he
torch
has.
is not lit.
Okay, then
you were
then
using the
it's-
wrong end.
it's being it's being dropped to the ground, and he'll back with the short sword try to run it into her.
All right. Something like that.
Yeah, which he doesn't. He gets an 80.
All right, she
Aw.
hits you for 12 points of damage.
Oh.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Rallis and Onorama, I think, are the only ones left.
Want to go in
I'll
now
go
with
for her.
Dax?
Yep. Going after her with the axe again.
He's gonna have to clash with you because I do not want to get hit by that axe again.
Okay. I rolled a 35.
All right, I got a 65. So you take another 12 damage.
Are you up?
Let's see. So I've been at 0 valor. So how do I calculate wounds
So
then?
don't forget to apply your protection.
Oh, okay.
What's your protection?
I have a Gambison for 1.
Okay, so that would have made a huge difference here. All right, so you're taking 12 damage reduced to 11, and you're gonna cross off 11 boxes. So you're gonna cross off your first wound row, and then 5 boxes into your second row, probably.
Oof. You will have some scars.
Yeah, that's really bad. Yeah, you would basically mark off 11 boxes. All right,
Yep.
Onorama, you're up.
All right. Comes in with
Can
his
you get the work
sword.
done here?
We're gonna see. Comes in with his sword. That is a 16.
How much damage do you do?
All right.
I'm out of clash points.
That's what I was hoping for. Rolling a d10 for damage. That is 6 points of damage.
How do you want to do this?
Oh, okay. So, like, she's just like they're fighting. She's like taking chunks out of my friends, and he just kind of just steals himself for a moment, and he's like, I did not come all the way here to die in a filthy dungeon, having eaten nothing but gruel and bad beer. Not today. And he just runs forward, bashes her with the shield around, and just cuts, like, long stroke with his longsword, just cuts her down.
You slash and hack and slash, and when it's all over, there's nothing left that resembled a human being. There's just maggots inching their way across the floor, a few rats scurrying for the dark corners of the room, but there's nothing left.
There's a few moments of like heavy breathing. He's like, can we agree that we will never speak of this to anyone?
How do we get out?
Yeah.
Herrick, at this time, right at this very moment, you hear a loud shriek from the house.
Oh,
Am I still talking with the gentleman?
Probably not at this point. You probably just sort of like, you probably just got up to leave.
Okay. I take that as my cue and head towards. I think I knew they were going to the back door, but I start to cautiously head to the back door.
You thought, oh my god, lucky here.
Do what?
He heard the woman shrieking, so he thought Panorama got lucky.
he's like, I'm kind of conflicted.
Oh my gosh. All right. What are you guys doing?
Try to find a way out.
One of you can give me an athletics test to try to move the door at the top of the stairs.
Can I do anything
one.
to help? Could we like combine our skills or
Yeah,
something?
you can all kind of like throw in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can.
You
force
basically
the
give
door.
a positive trait on the roll. But so who's gonna make the main roll?
Who has the highest athletics? Mine's going to be low.
I'm 40.
What? I'm 45. Wait, am I the strongest one here?
So far.
I hope not.
Yeah, Darrell's not that athletic.
It's all the dancing. That's what it is.
Probably Onorama.
Wow. Okay. I guess I'm gonna have to do that. That surprises me, actually. But we'll do it. So athletics.
I feel like Onorama is athletic, but like only because he's like in the rowing,
Right.
on the rowing team at his Ivy League university or something.
Right.
Just like
He goes to dance class, Pilates.
The unpopular sports that are measured in meters.
Right. Okay. Well, surprisingly, that's a success. 35 to 45.
okay. It takes a couple of minutes of pushing, but eventually you guys are able to like move the throne overhead to the side and emerge into the hall.
And then just high fives all around, just like, this is our thing.
So good at this. Yeah, except for Rallis, who is bleeding, heavily.
You're fine. Suck it up.
Actually, Rallis, just for funsies, let's find out how badly wounded you are. This is one of my favorite things to do.
We should get you to a healer, probably.
By the way, do clash points restore at this point, or?
Yeah. Clash points start replenish at the start of every round, and your Valor will as well. But since you're down to how many wound rows do you have filled completely? Just one, right?
One is filled completely.
Yeah. So for the next fight, if we have another
Definitely.
fight, your Valor will only be your metal times 2 now instead of your metal times 3. Go ahead and just roll a D100 for me, please.
D1. 82.
Whoa, buddy. Oh, buddy. Okay. So you have massive scarring. You are permanently -2 to your metal. So your metal goes down by 2 permanently. To represent the fact that you have an old wound which bothers you for the rest of your life. Additionally, wherever the scar is located, and I'll let you choose, gives you a negative trait for all influence rolls for pleasant social interactions. However, if you're trying to intimidate somebody, it gives you a positive trait for that. In other words,
So
you have been hideously scarred by your encounter with the thing beneath the hall.
So whenever you want to scare someone, you're like, let me show you my shoulder.
Yeah.
My shoulder.
You want to know how I got these scars? Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for the wound shoulder.
Okay. Yeah. So you have like let's say like it's like up your neck and down your shoulder. It's just like, yeah, pretty badly wrecked. Okay. You guys emerge into the hall at about the same time that Herrick comes bursting in, I assume with weapon drawn.
So he sees a even more ragtag group, bloodied weapons. We're just we threw the throne over. What?
You promised her you wouldn't hurt him.
It's not her that should be worried about him being hurt. Did you pass her in the hall?
Pass who in the hall?
The daughter.
Oh, apparently it didn't go well.
No, she tried feeding us to her mother. Normally, I expect first interactions to be not dissimilar, but not literal either.
So that means that he really didn't kill the wife.
No, apparently, if what she says is true, and I have my doubts, apparently it was the curse of the dark things, the evils in the outer world. She came back different, so he held her up, probably because he was unable to do what he should have done and ended her miserable existence. But the twisted form that was his wife, he preserved down here and fed the champions of every game to her.
So I'm confused, I guess, but where do we go next? If he But wait just a minute. You're telling me that the winners of all the night competitions have been fed by him to her?
Or perhaps it was the daughter's doing. One of the two. As far as I can tell, they're both complicit in this. So, he's cleaning his sword, sheaths it. I would say we've earned an audience with him. And I think we should make our his options very clear at this point. Or above table, we go home, we have an
Yeah.
audience with the mother and be like, so, do you need some blackmail? I mean, we can't prove anything at this point, but rumors are, potent things. And
I've got the scar.
yeah, I can prove it.
Not like the rumors about Sir Reilivar's mad are going to be any worse than they already are. I don't know. I mean, I think we should still talk to him. And
Well, maybe we can use this unfortunate situation also to our advantage. However,
what if we've messed up?
Tomorrow.
What if Mother Amala could have healed the wife? What if that's what it meant to lift the curse?
given our present circumstances, that was well out of anyone's control.
If we show up tomorrow and the daughter sees us, what will she do?
Well, I heard someone screaming. Was that the mother downstairs, or did the daughter figure out that there was some? I mean, did you hear a scream?
I mean, the thing was shrieking quite a
You
bit.
guys didn't really hear a scream, no.
Oh, you said she did this like shriek.
Yeah.
That was.
It wasn't the same one.
Oh, wait. What did you hear?
Well, I heard what sounded like a high-pitched shriek, and I figured that you
Yeah,
guys
you heard like a woman screaming. Harry.
I heard a woman
Oh.
screaming, yes. So I use the word shriek inappropriately.
Well, to the Batmobile then.
I heard a I don't know what that means. I heard a woman screaming and assumed that you had somehow mucked things up a bit, so I came to help.
Confidence isn't. Never mind. Let's go upstairs. We're finding whatever's happened.
You guys head up to the bedchamber?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You come in, swords drawn, guns blazing. How are you doing this?
Swords drawn. We kick the
Yeah.
door in.
You kick the door in, and you find Irosa sitting beside her father's bed, her head bowed, and a few quiet tears falling from her eyes. You look at the form on the bed, all you see is a desiccated skeleton, like a mummy.
I say we axe the daughter.
What was that?
He
was
wants it to end,
the wife was keeping him alive.
Maybe.
but I didn't want him to go. Surely you won't blame me for that.
I have a lot to blame you for right now. I want the truth, the whole truth, and don't leave out any details. What in the world is going on here?
For 80 winters, my father's held this tournament. Surely you could do the math. He's not a young man. When my mother came back from the deep, from the poison tides, it was clear that something in her had changed. Over the years, or so I'm told. I wasn't born until sometime after this. She became more and more eccentric until eventually he had to lock her up. That was just after I was born, and I can still remember her as my mother when I was just a little girl. And then everything changed. He gave the strong to her because as long as she had them to feed on, she lived. As long as she lived, he lived. But he hated it. And finally this year he decided it had to end. I'm sorry for what I did. I see now that it was wrong. But I didn't want to lose my father. There were so many of you, and so foolish. I'm so sorry. I won't ask for your forgiveness, but I hope in time you'll come to understand.
I'm still working out what exactly you just said. I don't want to think about it, but
I'll do whatever I can to help you with whatever it is that you need. I promise.
that could actually help. But we can wait for tomorrow.
All right. So
I think, given the passing of your father and these events, what you need would be, though I don't forgive you for what you did, obviously there are bigger things at play right now. The well-being of what your father built, for instance. Obviously. You having come into it quite suddenly, and his sudden passing on the eve of a great feast and festival, obviously that would be important to continue to maintain. To think on, but at a later date, there are those friends of mine who would be willing to secure your rule, to reinforce you, to give you blessings, pass on things that could help establish yourself as the new leader. Obviously, this is going to come with some political ramifications. Suddenly there's your father gone, and you're stepping into his role so young. There's obviously going to be those who will see this as an opportunity.
if I were to take a husband,
That's a question for
that's so bizarre.
Oh,
Jeremy was telling me it's apparently an Apple thing.
oh, that's so cool.
It's insane. So bizarre.
So, suffice it to say, it would be a conversation to have at a later date, but yeah, he's not going to like push too
Sure,
quickly
of
in
course.
case this is going to escalate things. But I mean, Panorama's feeling pretty good. Like, they're in a good position right here.
Yeah, sure. You're not the one hideously scarred.
Yeah. That's my vassal.
Or perhaps if I may say something, she's obviously gone through something quite traumatic and has been a party to unspeakable actions. What would your thoughts be about a place of healing, say a monastery? Perhaps we could take her back with us. She could spend some time under the care of Mother Amala. Thus, perhaps,
That is a thought.
the thought. I think that she should
Maybe-
be in a convent right now for the healing of her soul and spirit. And, one might say that her giving that much, her being at the monastery might, boost the case for someone to be a replacement. I mean, I'm
Out
not
of
connected.
character, I see what you're doing and I love it.
Do as you think best.
Well,
What should we do with the hundreds of people outside? One of them expects to have your hand in marriage.
The tournament cannot go on. Not at this point. We will have to tell them that my father has died. And that it was his most profound wish that the people of the Leopard Isles should be free. What else?
I suggest, sorry.
No, go ahead, Jeremy.
I think we could go get our boat steerer and get you out of here tonight. It's going to be absolute utter bedlam as news of this spreads tomorrow. You shouldn't be anywhere close.
If I may also suggest, take the remains of your father with you and have them properly interred.
That is a good idea. I do not want to stay the night in this house. Later we can send someone to purify my mother's room below. Be a long time, I think, before anyone lives in Mistholm Hall again.
I would suggest we take you and your father's body out to our boat tonight, and that if you have the means, you secure all the doors to this tower. Let the Baron's eccentricity be his final gift to all of the tournament's participants. They will think he has just disappeared, or perhaps wait a few days for the joke to be revealed. There'd be much confusion, but it would be better than it turning into a non-tournament contest for your hand until you are safely somewhere else.
I'd say, Daryl, you are quite brilliant.
That is a good counsel. If you'll make the arrangements, then. I thank you all. I'm sorry for everything. But it is clear to me that fate has brought you to this island today to put an end to a long evil. I don't even know who I am without her. But I look forward to finding out.
Come, make haste. And if he's in the bed sheet already, that'll make it pretty easy to kind of tie him up and
Yeah, I mean the bones weigh nothing.
like hobo sack him out of there.
Yeah. Hate that so much. All right, so we're gonna wrap things up because it's 11 o'clock.
I'll also, just as a detail, if it's possible, as this is going on, Deral will go back into the grand hall and see if he can make certain that the throne is placed as nearly as possible where it should be.
Yeah, it's
So that
in and out of the way, like on
Okay.
a hinge, so it's no trouble at all. Yeah.
okay, he'll look at it. If they get restless and they break down the doors, he doesn't want it to give them any clues about what has happened.
Right. That's good thinking.
So
Brilliant.
you guys pack up the bones of Sir Reilivar the Mad, and you spirit them and the lady Irosa with just a few belongings out the back door of the mansion. And as people are collapsing drunk in the tents, going to bed for the night, etc., you head down to the docks with a very confused Puri, and you board the ship and sail away into the night. One final coda. Onorama, the Lady Irosa stands at the bow of the ship, kind of looking out into the darkness as you sail away from the island. Do you know something I've never left? I've never left Mistholm.
Never once.
I know, for obvious reasons, we had to stay close to Mother. I'm a little afraid of what's out there.
Well, I won't lie to you. It's I was actually going to say it would. Your home seemed rather nice, but considering what you kept in the basement, you'll fit just right in.
I'm glad I met you.
I'll be honest, this wasn't exactly what I expected was going to happen, but I think it will all come out all well in the end.
We should get some sleep. I don't know how. But tomorrow's a new day, right?
And hope springs eternal.
Good night. And she goes back to the cabin, closes the door, blows out the lamp. And reaches up, nudges her nose. As she pulls a hand away, a maggot writhes its way down her palm. And that's where we're going to stop.
Yeah, in the back of my head, I was like, the only thing I was thinking about during the whole story was like, so your mom comes back, then you're born.
Right.
Don't want to know how that all worked out, but
All right, well, cool.
uh,
Bringing her back, sending her to the most important holy site in the island.
sure, it's
It's gonna be
fine.
totally great. It's gonna be
Yeah, it's
fun.
fine.
She's a Nephilim.
Wow, man, I'm so excited about this. Very unexpected turns this evening, by the way. We didn't even do the tournament. I had a whole
Yeah.
tournament in my notes.
I was thinking it was like, oh, Richard's probably wrote something. We should do the tournament. And I'm like,
No,
wait a
it
minute.
doesn't work that way. It's really just about what happens, you know. So guys, this is amazing. Thank you all very much. Everyone watching at home, if you stuck with us this long through me trying to play a drunk person and me trying to play a bunch of creepy ladies. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you enjoy Emboria role-playing in the world under starlight. I hope you enjoyed the rest of the Midnight War. Please give a hand at home to all of our great players. Thank you very much, Paul and Jeremy and Andrew and Stephen. And until next time, when we see you in the world under starlight, this is Richard Rowling signing out. Nice.